Hey, we're recording Roundabout Cast episode 36. Yes, that's
Take
correct.
one, am I right, ladies?
Take one. Yeah, we were having some technical difficulties, but we catch those in the Roundabout Cast.
Yeah.
I'm your host, technical difficulty catcher Willer.
I am Bradley, a seagull who is also a sailor who has washed up on your island, and my friends are definitely going to rescue me. Right, guys?
Definitely.
Right? Right?
Any day now.
I'm Joe. I am a person dragged to hell and then beat his way out of hell multiple times.
Oh, damn.
You're
I'm
badass.
I'm Tyler, and today I'm sponsored by Flavor Blasted Goldfish.
I think you're actually not allowed to say you're pretend sponsored by stuff.
Is that real?
Extra
that's
cheddar.
No,
Dude,
you're
in any
not.
case, I fucking ate a bowl of goldfish today, like a bunch of goldfish, and I took a power nap, and it was good. I didn't think goldfish was a nap-inducing food,
Oh, it totally is.
but I
Joe,
guess it is.
Joe just pulled out a box of goldfish. I have that
Yeah,
same box in my
That's
passenger
the gallon
seat.
box, dude. I used to buy one of those every week in college.
It's in my passenger seat of my car, and I just always am too lazy to bring it up. But also, my car's unlocked, so if Bradley wanted to, he could make a heist and go
Dude,
steal it from my car.
goldfish is fucking crack. This week on the Roundabout Cast, we're only talking about goldfish.
Okay, so
I really like just regular cheddar goldfish. I think I just take tons of it. Like I'm almost done. I need more.
back when I was a kid, we had barbecue goldfish. I don't think they make those
Iconic.
anymore.
Interesting.
They
We
were
had
the
regular
hotness.
goldfish.
Our
We
fourth
used
grade
to-
teacher got us into them, and then everyone ate them.
Tyler,
Will-
what's your goldfish
Will, what you
story?
sipping on?
Miller Lite.
Oh damn, I got my Austin East Siders dog.
Today I have a Pinot Noir Bread and Butter
Pinot.
2017. Pick it up at your local.
Do not.
Don't pick it up. Don't pick it up. Have it delivered.
Yeah.
Kino
Have
is literally in the name.
So we have some topics to talk about today.
Yeah.
One of them, and our first topic is this an anime? Is this a Japanese show? I think
It
is.
is
Right?
it is a Netflix CGI anime.
Is
It
this
is-
Beastars or
It is
what
called Beastars.
Yeah.
And why don't you boys tell us about Beastars? Me and Bradley haven't seen
You don't want
this.
to go through the rest of the doc?
I'm terrified.
Yeah,
to
we
hear
got
about this.
Beastars, we got Doom Eternal, the video game, we got Promised Neverland, the manga, Animal Crossing, the video game / life sim, and Castlevania, the TV show.
Doom Eternal, the video game, not to be confused with Doom Eternal, the live action role playing game.
Just
The
in
LARP.
case, Joe.
Can you imagine trying to LARP Doom and you have to try to punch through your friend's head?
It's kind of getting Doom-like outside these days.
All right.
Anyways, tell us about this this show, Beastars.
Well, it has nothing to do with Beastars.
Well,
first of all.
What does that mean?
So a B star is basically like the top performer in the school. I want to say.
No. It's like prom king.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's like the favorite person of all the students that embodies. It's like the student body president, but it's an award for being like a peacemonger
Wait, so
amongst the carnivores and herbivores.
Okay.
if you get that award, you are the Beastar.
That's fucking
yeah,
badass.
yeah.
So
But-
I, Giorno Giovanna,
Want to be a Beastar.
But here's the thing: the main character, and even like the secondary character that the main character's in love with, which is what the entire plot is about, have nothing to do
Tyler,
with wanting to become beasts.
Have you considered that this is a long-running manga and you only have one season available? And
No,
it might go
I've
play-
not
Oh,
considered this at all.
perhaps you should consider. And
Oh,
I know
yeah.
for a
Only
fact.
work with the content that's been given.
I know
to me.
for a
I,
fact there's content past the anime.
I had never seen anything of the show, but I did Google it right before we started recording, and I saw that there's, I don't know how many chapters there are, but apparently there's enough for 17 tankobon to have been
Okay,
made.
17 volumes. That's a lot of
100,
seasons.
170.
Yeah, something like that.
I feel like every character, okay, so all the characters are animals. They live in a society where it's carnivores versus herbivores.
Not for
Society, you said.
they are living cohabitually together, but in comparison, like Zootopia, it's like a constant state of conflict between the two groups. Like there's even Beastars does a few interesting things. Like for number one, like they don't shy away about carnivores eating people at all. Like the big kind of inciting incident is that a student gets like a herbivore student gets devoured by someone on campus.
Jesus,
that's the very first 5 minutes of the show.
This ain't no Mama Zootopia.
And so, and the story follows Legoshi, who is voiced by Matt Mercer, who is this wolf that falls in love with
Judy Hopps.
Yeah, basically with with the rabbit in the school, which is also the school slut. Which
I
is
think
really
that's
weird.
a great concept.
Oh, she's a slut. I bet she is. I can
Yeah.
tell.
Bradley, keep it in your fucking pants. I think that's a great concept because rabbits fuck like rabbits.
Oh yeah.
No. You would wish it has something to do with that, but it doesn't at all.
Oh really?
No. We get the backstory. I'm on episode 10. I have an episode and a half left in the show. I'm actually on 11. Her reason because she's a slut is because she is a rabbit. She is the runt of the litter, and she always has like felt pity her entire life. But the only time she feels equal to people is when she has sex.
I think that's great. That's awesome.
That's cool.
That's just Tyrion's whole
Yeah.
shtick.
Oh, and that and belittling people. But.
The first 4 episodes feel like cringy, furry fan fiction, to be honest.
Mm-hmm.
And it's all hidden behind this like furry angst. To be like, if you're a furry, you will probably enjoy this show. You just probably it's written for you, by you,
For you.
You will enjoy it.
I like the
Overall, as
For
like
you, by you.
compared to other original CGI Netflix animes, I don't think it's more good. I don't think it's better, to be honest.
I've heard that there's some really interestingly animated segments.
Oh yeah, she gets naked in the second episode.
I was surprised
That's
to
not
hear
what
you
I
say.
meant, but go on, Bradley.
I was surprised to hear you say it was CGI because I hadn't seen any screenshots before like a half hour ago, and I was like, "Oh, this." It looked 2D animated to me. Of course, I didn't see it in motion, but
you would notice it as soon as you saw it movie.
okay, I'm sure if I saw it in motion, I'd be like, "This."
It has a really cool opening. The opening of this show is a stop motion.
Oh,
It is, and
That's what I've
very
seen.
good.
I think I've seen a clip of that.
maybe I need to check out the opening.
Yeah, but I think like the idea of like them like openly engaging this idea of like you have a society that's trying to coexist together, but there is innate conflict between the two groups. Like literally, they're just like carnivores are born to eat herbivores. Like that's just the nature of things, and they're telling this group that you can't do that. It's an interesting kind of concept, the basis of the show around, and like but I said it before, you have this interesting concept, but then there's just a layer of teen angst and cringe that's like at the top of it. That's the main focus of the show.
Yeah.
Now, when
And
you say
know,
cringe, go ahead, Bradley.
Like,
I'll ask after.
Yeah, Bradley, go ahead.
well, I'll, like kind of what Joe was bringing up about how a lot of the core of the show is this like we have these two different groups, the herbivores and the carnivores, that kind of by nature it's hard for them to coexist, and so we're like, how does society do that? And that's one thing that I appreciate about this show that I've never watched. Just from hearing about it.
He's saying that like it's something that seems interesting, which I agree. That's
Well,
something that's
interesting.
captivating to me.
Well,
And the reason I'm glad they do it is because Zootopia, like, which I love, by the way. I've seen it a million times. I saw it like 5 times while it was in theaters. Stop laughing, Joe. I saw that. I love that movie. And a big part of the plot, the whole fucking point of the plot is this whole like, carnivores are going feral, stuff like that. But we're Zootopia, the carnivores and the herbivores got to live together. I don't think they ever address like what do the carnivores eat when like what they never say what the carnivores eat instead of other
for like a substance of what they physically need.
Yeah, like if they just said like, oh, they eat some protein thing,
Yeah.
I'd be like, that's cool. They just, for a movie where that's the main plot, you'd think they'd address it at some
Okay,
point.
but are we gonna talk about fish and insects or not? Like, what's the deal?
No, they're just
Oh,
fish.
yeah.
I haven't seen any fish. Fish are never mentioned.
Fish
Wow.
are mentioned in the classroom in passing, as in like there is a sea society, probably similar to that in BoJack Horseman. Which, by the way, I'm coming off of
Oh, we should talk
watching
about that.
BoJack Horseman into Beastars, and so I have a very cynical concept
American
right
furry
now.
show versus Japanese furry show.
Yeah.
BoJack Horseman's not fucking furry at all.
And
I'm kidding.
trivia, Beastars takes place in the post time skip My Gym Partner is a Monkey
Oh my god.
universe. So I think they were in middle school when My Gym Partner is a Monkey, and then this is high school. So
Yeah,
I think
yeah.
I think you said you didn't notice any fish. I think the fish shows up later, and it's the gym teacher from My Gym Partner is a Monkey.
Mhm. But insects are just insects in this universe.
Okay,
Yeah. There's a point where he picks up a grasshopper.
we can eat those. They're cool.
I don't like
Yeah.
that.
He
Why,
also
why are
he
these
also has a
movies?
pet beetle.
Why are these movies such fucking cowards about insects?
Yeah, right.
It's
I mean,
like,
BoJack Horseman isn't like the funeral home people are like maggots.
ew, but okay, but at least they're there.
Yeah.
Um,
I
y'all
just
got anything else to say? Because like we could have.
I think the show is. I would like for Willard to at least give it a watch.
Yeah, I will. I will.
I feel like I don't know. I'm tired of seeing like Japanese boys clumsily like fumbling their way through high school and all this kind of nonsense. So that's just an off-putting thing to me.
main character is
Wow.
socially awkward. He's like, oh, I'm an angsty teenage wolf in sheep's clothing.
Yeah.
Joe
like-
literally has recommended I read A Town Where You Live, and then
That's
he
true.
turns around and says, "This shit, really, Joe?"
Lots have changed in about 2 years.
Yeah.
Well, the difference between Town Where You Live is it goes through all of high school, so you can see the character grow up and grow out of that. I
And
don't
they're
think
not animals.
Yeah, they're not animals.
Now, once again, you guys got 12 episodes of a 17-volume series.
I know. I mean, I'm enjoying it. I'm enjoying it a lot more past like those first 4 episodes. Like, there's a scene where they go to like a black market where they sell meat to carnivores, and that's
Oh,
an
fuck.
interesting kind of
Yeah,
thing.
That's
they're
cool.
like, oh, we have to survive based off of this black market. Like that's how we live. And then teenage.
Which is so fucked up if you think about it, because like everyone's acknowledging that this exists, but it's illegal.
But they
they're
need
like,
it.
But they need it.
Oh, come on, Tyler. That's interesting. Give me something.
I will say the positive thing about it is if you remove the main 2 characters, everything about the show is fine.
I would agree with that.
If you remove this
Hot
terrible furry backstories, the show is pretty interesting. And the interactions of like there's this mystery that's hardly acknowledged like half the time.
Yeah.
Of like this student getting murdered in the very first episode, but all the Netflix show is currently about is this wolf wanting to fuck this rabbit, and he's just a teenage wolf who wants to get his dick wet. Like that's it, and it's just
Tyler, you will watch Big Mouth and talk about it all day, but this
Big Mouth is a great representation of middle school puberty, and
Oh man.
it's terribly animated with great writing. Because you watch these characters in that show and you go, oh, I know that guy, or oh, I knew that guy, or I know who that happened to. It's very relatable.
While we're at it, Tyler, what did you think of BoJack since you watched it all in like a week?
Oh
no,
yeah,
no spoilers though, because I do want to watch
Yeah.
it at some point.
Yeah,
It's been hard, and it sounds like it really hit you. But I mean, everyone I know who's watched all the way through it says it hit them really hard.
Yeah.
I had a rough past 2 weeks. And I watched BoJack Horseman during that time, and I'd been waiting to watch it. 1, until the show was done. 2, I was hoping I wouldn't be like depressed when I was watching it. But oh boy, that did not happen, and that did not work out well. Every single main character in that show goes through a redemption in life, and just it accurately depicts the human struggle of like when we're out of this routine and we're done with college. It covers midlife crisis, existential crisis, depression, anxiety, even the people who are doing happy in life, but like they have this false sense of happiness that they carry around with them and excitement every day. it covers that character trait as well, and like what's wrong with those people.
That's
Because
a good thing to explore. I think that's really interesting.
Yeah, I think this could potentially fuck me up.
it explores the human condition through animals and humans extremely well, and because it focuses on its writing and relationships with characters, it has this quality with its animation. They do subtle animation and do like very subtle like traits. Like there's these two characters having an argument with each other, and then you'll notice like one character like subtly for like 0.3 seconds looks away and bites their lip while the other one's still talking.
That's good.
And it's like, wow, they really captured these human interactions.
That's important, right? Because I feel like a lot of animations will have characters emoting strictly with their voice actor. When you compare that to acting, like with real people, there's all this subtle facial movement, and I like when animation tries to capture that.
It is, they try to make the human, like the interactions between people, as realistic as possible. It is a very grounded show, and anytime it isn't grounded, it funnels it through one character, which is Todd, voiced by Aaron Paul. And yeah,
bitch.
It funnels.
I'm not grounded, bitch.
Literally, it funnels all of its silly and wacky shit through like two characters.
Oh,
and
it gets to say, baby.
Sold.
It covers.
Will Arnett is BoJack, right?
Yes, Will Arnett is BoJack. The voice cast is great. Oh my god, I literally throughout the run of this show, anybody who's anybody probably had a voice acting role on it.
Well, fuck.
Yeah, this is the first show. This is the first original Netflix series to actually be picked up. It airs on FX now.
That's interesting.
So it's on cable television.
Oh.
Wow.
It's great. It really is. And if you need something that just, it makes you feel a little bit less crazy, to be honest.
Yeah,
because it's like other people know what I'm going through, you know?
I think that it's very therapeutic to watch some sad or depressing shit when you're feeling down. Personally.
Yeah,
for others, I could see that it'll just dig a deeper hole.
Yeah, the thing that sounds interesting to me is like, you know, I think a lot of times when you are going through some shit, it's easy to get into a hole where it's like, realistically, you know, you're not the only person who's ever had that problem, but you can feel like you're the only person who's had that problem. So if like Tyler's saying, if the show portrays all these different adult life problems in a way that's very accurate, it'll kind of give you some catharsis. Like, okay, you know, other people have gone through this shit. It's possible to get better, you know.
It's therapeutic in that sense, but it hits hard because you don't expect them to hit that close to home.
Yeah, they get you in the guise of a cartoon. It's like, oh, you weren't supposed to go there.
Yeah.
You were supposed to be Family Guy.
And on that note, I've seen clips of the show, and it's also funny. So
It is. If you look past it being animated, if you're not able to do that and take the show seriously, you probably won't enjoy it that much.
Oh, it's 2020. Who like everyone I know has like an animated show, like at least an adult one that they like.
I know a lot of immature people who are like, "Oh, that's animated, right? Like, what? That's serious?" And anyway, I think there's maybe only a few episodes that have happy endings.
That sounds like a fun time.
There are a lot of episodes that I just, man, like I cried at the end of Assassination Classroom.
Ooh.
That got me really good, but man, there was a handful of episodes each season that just tore me apart, that just made me question existence, to be honest.
Fuck.
Great. Sounds like a good time.
That being said, it's probably one of the best shows I've ever watched.
Hey Joe, what happened, buddy?
I spilled his goldfish.
I spilled my nerds everywhere on my desk.
Oh, that's like one of the worst candies to spill. Too.
That's like top 5 worst candies you can spill.
Like,
Just being a real Todd right
the
now.
only
Oh
one
my
that's
God.
maybe worse is like maybe Pop Rocks because they're also sticky and smaller.
And then they'll explode.
yeah, they blow up and destroy you.
Well, you
Anyways.
anyways, that's
Good
our
show.
beast shows for the day.
Yeah. One you shouldn't watch unless you're a furry. One you should watch.
Okay. So, quick update. The first season of Beastars goes all the way up to volume 6.
Okay.
Jesus Christ.
So it's nearly
makes
half.
Don't watch it. It's so bad.
Get
We'll-
it out of here.
We'll see about that. You'll get the real review
Uh,
from yours truly. Well, I don't know if I'll jump straight to it.
I just reviewed 2 animal shows that I've watched in 1 week. Come on.
What are the coincidence? Okay. Moving
No.
swiftly along, we have Doom Eternal, which
Oh,
only
yeah.
Joe has played. So, Joe, why don't you get it out of
Oh.
your system?
Doom Doom.
Hey, you. Have you played Doom 2016?
No,
Yes.
no.
This isn't Doom 2016.
No.
What is it?
It's Doom Eternal, baby. All right.
Hey,
Because I fucking loved Doom 2016. I was very excited for Doom Eternal, which I haven't bought yet because money is tight, and between that and Animal Crossing, I got Animal Crossing. But maybe it's good because I held off. I'm ready to hear what Joe has to say about it. Go,
first
like,
off-
give me the red pill me on Doom Eternal.
So first off, I think the game's really fun. I feel like Doom had this sense of almost kind of survival horror, but like when you start to learn the mechanics, you feel like you're the beast that's running around and killing everything.
Yeah.
Because you're slowly getting your weapons back and you're getting ammo. Doom Eternal feels more like an action shooting game where you are constantly moving and doing different actions and trying to like change your weapons out as quickly as you can to like delay you to hinder a monster or a demon from doing its thing so you can move and kill another demon. At the same time, you have to like balance your ammo, health, and your armor reserves. So it's I can't really put it into words why it doesn't feel like Doom 2016, but it doesn't. I'm not saying that like it's not fun. I still think it's really fun. It has a lot of what Doom 2016 was, but it's not just like run and gun and shoot. There's
It's
a lot more.
Designed very different. from
It's
the scenes
designed,
of it.
and you have to like.
but it's
think-
still like a runny, shooty, fast game.
Yeah, it is. Like it's the quickest shoot game I've ever played.
Shoot game.
But like I have to constantly like think about like, all right, I have to use this gun to take down this monster or this demon or enemy, or at least hinder it for a little bit, and then switch to this gun, and then use this gun to like take out this set of enemies. So the game introduces 3 new elements. Well, one of the elements is the same, but they changed it a little bit. So the first one is the chainsaw. In the original Doom game, you had to find these fuel reserves for your chainsaw to use it. But now in this game, your last reserve of fuel always refills over time. This is important because whenever you use the chainsaw to kill an enemy, you get a bunch of ammo back. So that's how you keep resupplying your guns with ammo.
Right.
So you basically have to cycle through all your guns, chainsaw an enemy to get all your ammo back.
Well, this also means that they can make these encounters where they throw waves at you where you're going to run out and you have to keep yourself alive and moving and busy until that little bit comes back, I would imagine.
Yeah, for sure. And like they've done a thing now where like basically your encounters are focused around on demons that are not fodder demons, like imps and zombies and all of that. So if you can wipe out all the non-fodder demons, it stops spawning the fodder demons, and then you just have to kill the rest of them, and then you can move on. But the fodder demons only require 1 tank of fuel to kill to get the ammo back, while the larger demons require 3. So you still need to pick up the fuel if you want to kill larger demons. But the chainsaw is basically used to refill your entire like ammo kit now. The other thing is you have this like wrist-mounted or like shoulder-mounted like grenade launcher that has 2 modes: the frag mode and the ice mode.
Frag mode.
Frag mode just shoots out a frag, it explodes and deals damage and knocks enemies around, and then the ice mode just freezes everything in that area. And I do mean it freezes every demon you hit with it. So
yeah,
you can like
I've seen that be used a lot in the footage I've seen.
yeah, so if you're getting swamped by like a bunch of like large demons, you can gather them in a group, shoot at them, and then start working on something else, or execute a demon to get your health back, and so on and so forth. The last thing they give you is this flame belcher. So this shoots out like a little bit of flame for like 0.5 seconds. Whatever you catch on fire starts dropping ammo packs or armor packs. I mean, and if you kill the demon, you get your armor pack, a bunch of armor packs. So it's another way to like produce that resource. And so you're constantly like juggling the cooldowns of these items to like kind of make sure that I have enough ammo, health, armor, and then I'm slowing down the demons where I can or pushing them away when I can. So when you realize that, the game's really fun because it forces you to use your entire toolkit and get creative on how you're approaching these situations.
That's the aspect that makes me more interested in this Doom as opposed to 2016 personally, because it seems like it has a way higher skill ceiling.
Yeah, for sure. Like I'm playing on ultraviolet mode, which is the second,
nice.
the third highest difficulty. The highest difficulty being the second highest difficulty, but if you die, you're dead forever. You have to restart the whole game.
Iron Man.
No thanks.
Yeah, no thanks, bro. But yeah, it's I'm having a great time with it, and the monsters look great. The story is just kind of like, you're a Doom guy, go save the world, go bang bang shoot shoot.
Has anyone cared about a Doom? Like, do people care about Doom story?
No, it's just like last one ended on a very obvious cliffhanger, and then this one just kind of throws it out the window and it's like, you have an entire fortress now. That's where you upgrade your stuff. So this brings me to my big problem about the game, though, is that in the original Doom, you would go around and you would find these mod boxes to modify your guns that basically would just give you like little gadgets to use with your guns. But in this game, and that was like the only upgrade system you have in the game, other than like I think upgrade your health, armor, and ammo. That was the only thing you had. In this game, you have the modifications for the guns. Those modifications then have their own modifications you have to earn and upgrade. And then you have the health and armor and ammo upgrades, but those are linked to other upgrades that if you get them on the same path together, it gives you another upgrade. And then there's a whole other skilled tech tree thing that's based off secret encounters. But what basically saying is there's way too many goddamn tech trees in this game, and it doesn't need to be that many.
Yeah.
It's absurd because I went through half the game without using them, and then finally went, I should probably spend all of these. Spent them all, and then just kind of forget about it once I start going again.
Have you beat the game?
No, I'm close to beating the game.
Because I'm wondering if you've gotten every mechanic. I don't know them all, but I've seen
I got the last gun. So
I've seen like air dashes and grappling hooks and a sword and all that.
I haven't gotten the sword just yet, but I've gotten everything else basically, and everything feels fine. It's just the amount of like upgrades is just excessive. Like that was kind of the great thing about the original Doom. It's like, I got the upgrade for the gun, and then I upgrade my health. That's all I need. All you really need in that kind of thing.
Simpler.
It's a lot simpler, and it's a lot less you have to think about, like when you're kind of planning everything out. And so, I don't know, like it definitely raises that skill ceiling, but I don't need to be that excessively high. I feel because there's like upgrades where like, if you shoot your grenade, the grenade scatters to other grenades, and then if they kill something, it also spawn ammo, and then you have to do math in your head to like, what's my effective way of just blowing everything up in one turn or one shot, essentially. It's just really annoying because it makes you there's so many other things I have to now get in order to be fully kitted out, rather than just like, I had to find all my mod boxes, put them on my gun, good to go. There's also batteries you have to find to upgrade your little fortress as well. That's another thing you have to collect.
Does it run on AA or like D?
They're like giant D batteries.
Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's like real life. That's realistic.
Yep.
Yeah, fortresses are powered by double Ds.
You said.
But I mean, I'm having fun. I get really frustrated sometimes with some of the encounters. But they buckled down on like. So when you were playing Doom 2016, there was either the corridor section of the game where you're running through corridors and just shooting things as you turn into a corner, and then there's like almost the arena section where you're in this big open room with a bunch of like verticality to it, and you have to survive in that room to kill everything. And I think the latter of those two were always more fun to me because you were just constantly having to like, you were in like panic mode where you're just like, oh god, oh god, oh god, like that just was a lot of fun. And I think in this game they've really buckled down on it, and there's some really cool encounters in this game in those arenas that are just tons of fun. Like there are these secret rooms you can find that are like your level times like 3 of what you're supposed to be, and they're the most fun of that entire game. Like I walked into one, I was like, all right, let's get this done, and I think I was in that room for like 30 minutes on my first life trying to beat it.
Is this a game where you can turn down the difficulty midway through your playthrough?
I don't remember. Yes, you can, because people have done it.
Okay. This seems like a game where, like, if you get frustrated at games that want you to learn the mechanics and you just want to go, it seems like a game you should just play on normal or easy.
I've been playing on Ultra Violence.
Yeah.
I felt like that's a really good skill level for where I am at.
Well, you've grown to be a person who likes a challenge these days.
Yeah.
Joe's playing fighting games now, so
I know.
But,
I saw some meme where someone was like, I don't know, I can't remember the fucking meme, but the message of it, because I know we all look at memes for the message. But essentially, it was like a lot of people are saying they were able to play Doom 2016 on the hardest difficulty, and like it was difficult, but they could clearly get through it. And they said they're playing Doom Eternal on like the medium difficulty, and they're like, "Holy fucking shit!"
It just seems to be testing a whole different skill set.
It definitely is. Like you definitely have to like if you go in there with just your shotgun, be like, I just want to run with a shotgun all day. That's all I'll use. You're going to lose because
you have to switch through your arsenal.
Yeah, because that's the thing in Doom 2016. I like almost exclusively used the shotgun just because it was really satisfying to shoot, and I was like, I'm just going to use the shotgun.
Yeah, like I still think it's satisfying to shoot. It's just now you have to think about like, well, I have to use my plasma gun to like destroy these barriers to like. Also, the AI in this game is bonkers for some of these demons. There's a demon that will throw out these protective barriers to like protect its fellow demons from getting shot or whatever. And this demon knows when a demon's in the execute mode and will stop you from executing a demon. Like it'll throw up a barrier right before you can get in range. I'm like,
that is kind of cool.
It provides a lot of priority that you have to step.
The world's first ever first-person character action game.
It reminds me a lot of Devil May Cry. I really wish there was like the scoring system from Devil May Cry.
That seems like it would fit right into this.
Yeah, especially. But like when you just want to like run through the game, it can kind of get frustrating. But when you're like in the groove, you're like, all right, let's beat this arena section, and you go through it, and you're really thinking about like, all right, so this spawns, this spawns, and this spawns. Here's what I have to do next. Here's where I have to be. I think it's great in what it's accomplished. I just wish there was less tech tree stuff in the game.
This is when those easier difficulties are very much appreciated because.
Yeah.
People shouldn't be like if you're the kind of person who's not gonna have fun on hard, just don't be ashamed of playing on the mode you're gonna have more fun on.
Like do whatever is gonna be the most fun
for you.
Yeah, if you want to be a pansy and bad at games,
if you will.
I mean, that's my mindset, but everyone deserves fun.
Yeah.
No, that's not true.
Damn.
I would suggest for you to wait for Doom Eternal to go on sale before you buy it, I think.
Yeah.
I think you'll still have a good time. It's not like Doom 2016 in a lot of its aspects, but I still think it's a really, really good game.
Can you turn the difficulty up midway through? Because maybe Bradley could start on normal, and then if he's like, I like this.
I think you can turn the only difficulty you can forever. Like it deletes your game and then it removes it from your Steam library and then you're fucked.
Jesus.
No. Well, I think you should try this game because I think you would especially on like a lower difficulty. Maybe when it goes on sale.
The only problem is that I'm getting exploded by games starting tonight, and it's gonna go through to the end of April. So maybe in May.
I think you would have a good time.
March and April 2020 is like a stupid amount of good games all coming out at once.
Yeah.
If Doom Eternal isn't gonna cut it for you in terms of FPS campaign story,
oh god.
I will suggest you go try Titanfall 2.
Okay.
You need something to itch that good
Titanfall
FPF
2
campaign.
is always on sale on PlayStation 4 for like $2. Even I own it.
I own it too.
Everyone needs to own it.
We talk about it, and we talked last week about industry stuff.
Yeah.
And I will say every single designer in the industry knows Titanfall and Titanfall 2 for being the best FPS of all time.
Fucking shit.
Also, and if you want a good, nice little story to go around with your
Unless they work on
games,
other games.
Yeah.
Oh, here we go. Everyone gets their shooter game in. Here we go.
If you-
BioShock.
If you want a nice little story with your shoots, go with BioShock, all 3 games. Maybe the second one's a little bit weaker, but I think Infinite has a really good story about. I'm playing through Infinite again. Infinite has a good story about class system and like the comedy of like the class and the conflicts between that. And BioShock 1 is just a great little mindfuck game. It's fun. It's fantastic.
And if you want like some sword combat in the middle of your shooting in your shoot game, and maybe don't mind third person, maybe try Devil May Cry 5. There's guns in that.
Yeah, there's guns in there. Sure.
Yeah, sure. All right.
While we're still talking about shoots, can we do like a half a bullet point about what we've been playing for the past 2 weeks?
Let's make
we
that
already
its own
talked about-
thing then.
Oh, did we?
Yeah, we did. We talked about it last
Tyler
time.
wasn't here for that.
Yes, he was.
Oh, was it?
Well,
Yes, he was.
he wasn't there when we were doing like our little mini like what are we doing. He was there for Warzone, but not.
That's what I thought I was talking about.
Yeah.
Okay, I mean, yeah, we can
Okay.
talk about Warzone.
No, apparently we already have.
We already talked about it.
Oh
We-
yeah, we did a whole thing.
I forgot. We talked about it the week it came out.
Yes. Yes. All right, we good.
Warzone
And
good.
on that note, after this podcast, here's what I'm thinking. All right, let's do a little game called Animal Crossing. A couple of people have bought this game in the world, just a couple.
Just a couple.
It sold all right for indie company Nintendo.
This fucking Animal Crossing, this is by a wide margin their most successful launch of an Animal Crossing game
it's-
ever.
Outsold every Animal Crossing before it combined.
Yeah, it had,
Jesus.
this launch week was fucking insane.
And it was by no means a unpopular series, especially in Japan.
Uh-huh.
And I mean, it's always seemed to sell well. Did this do better than most Nintendo exclusives? Because I think it did.
It's now the #1 selling game in the UK on the Switch.
Jeez.
Yeah.
Now,
Yo, this fucking game.
let's
Holy
put some
shit.
context on the history of when this game came out, in case you're listening to this a long time. Well, there won't be a future by the looks of it, but just in case there is, we're currently in the COVID-19 apocalypse.
Yeah.
So
This
a lot of
game-
people staying home, and this game is really coming out at the perfect time.
This game came out the same week that most like states in the U.S. began
Yeah.
doing their forced quarantine. So everyone's like, "Man, need something to do while I'm locked up."
They knew.
They knew.
They do.
Hey,
They delayed it. Don't forget that they delayed this game.
did.
They do.
Y'all love this fucking video game. I love Animal Crossing, and I'm really glad that a lot of other people like it too, because it seems like a lot of people who wouldn't normally be in Animal Crossing are having some fun with this, and I think that's because, and I'm gonna preface this by saying I'm a huge fucking Animal Crossing fanboy. Played every game, owned the strategy guide for all of them. I was a fucking active member of the Animal Crossing community forums, mind you. I would sell flowers on there.
Hey, that's my boy.
I've loved Animal Crossing since I was just a young boy who drank milk from a tit. But
So 5 years ago.
yeah, I've loved Animal Crossing this whole time, but this is the first Animal Crossing that actually has a core gameplay loop,
Yeah.
which is why I think a lot more people are getting into it.
Yeah, I'll get to it later as we go through. But Tyler is also a big fan of Animal Crossing, which I didn't know until this came out.
Yeah, I played on GameCube. It's the only reason I got a 3DS was to play New Leaf.
Yeah.
I played a lot of Pocket Camp actually.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah,
Bradley, did you ever
I
touch
like
Pocket
Pocket
Camp?
I played Pocket Camp for a little bit, but I was like, my opinion was it's a non-Animal Crossing game that is skinned like Animal Crossing. So I'm like,
Ooh.
But I mean, I'm a little distracted right now as we're talking about it.
Oh, why
Um,
is that, Tyler? Why are you distracted?
Somebody requested to come to my village, my island, so I had to give them something.
Oh my god. Look at this commitment these motherfuckers
by
have.
the way,
no,
speaking of
I-
going to villages, this game is really fun to play with friends because like every time, like all of our friends have been playing it because everyone's been locked up, and like I'll get on and then I'll have like 4 people come to my island and we all just kind of hang out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's the easiest one that you've been able to play with friends too, and that's what makes it like nice. It still
easiest to
takes
play
a
with
while.
friends online with separate switches.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
This
Yeah.
game has a problem. If you haven't bought this game and you want to, and you're like, oh, I'm gonna play with my significant other or my cousin who lives with or like comes over a lot, that's not gonna fly very well. They
Yeah.
have like a limited local multiplayer, but the online multiplayer seems to be the best they've ever had.
Yeah.
I've
Or-
always played Animal Crossing casually too. Like I've never like paid off all my loans to Nook ever.
Mm-hmm.
Like so, but I
Fucking
always
you.
enjoy it. I like the seasonal events. It's just I don't know. It's therapeutic for me in a sense
Yeah.
that since I'm playing Animal Crossing more, I've actually been doing more of my daily like life errands I need to get done.
I've been doing less.
It's like a little reminder like, oh, hey, I need to do this. So like
I need to go dig up my pear tree so I can move it to my other yard.
yeah. So like instead of like digging up a pear tree, I'm like, oh, I need to go exercise today, and oh, I need to cook this meal today. You know?
On the flip side, Animal Crossing has devastated my environment.
Oh
Because
god.
like the other day, like I was up till like let's say 2 a.m. playing Animal Crossing. I slept for 3 hours. I got up at 5 because that's when your town resets for the day. So I played it. I got up at 5. I played it until work in the morning. I did my full day of work, and then as soon as work was done, I played Animal Crossing, and then I didn't go to sleep that next night, and then I had to do another full
Jeez.
day of work.
That's crazy. Bradley has a problem. I'm just gonna say it. He was
I love
gatekeeping me about turnips because I didn't do turnips as well as him, and you were like, "You just don't want to make money." He's
Yeah,
very
we-
serious about this
We
game.
had this big discussion that Tyler started. Like, is there a way that games are meant to be played? And I
Yeah.
said no, and then I found out they weren't doing turnips, and I was like, I changed my mind. Yeah,
Which we might talk about that later because that seems like a fun discussion to have on the podcast. But okay, I'll do my spiel. I'll keep this short. So my history with Animal Crossing is I got the DS one and I played it, and then one day it hit me. It's like what am I doing? I realized that I was just wasting time and not having too much fun, and then I stopped playing. But I got decently far. I feel like I paid off like 2 to 3 loans. I was switching friend codes so I could get one exotic fruit into my island, and that's all I ever did.
like it was fun, but outside the loans in that one, there was no real long-term sense of progression.
And that's why I haven't played one since. So I missed the Wii one and the 3DS one. And apparently, according to Bradley, they all get better and better.
Yeah, I like this franchise for that. I've liked every single installment better than the previous one.
So I had 2 core problems with the game, and they fixed one major time with this one, but the other is maybe worse than ever for me. So I'll go over the positive first. Like Bradley said, this one has a gameplay loop, and it's a pretty good one.
It's addicting as shit.
It has an achievement system, which gives you points in the game. So first of all, achievements are just fun to have. It bums me that Switch doesn't have an achievement system like a PS4 or Steam, because achievements encourage you to try out stuff in the game that you wouldn't want, even if sometimes they're annoying. The accomplishment of just getting them all is sometimes worth it for certain games.
Yeah,
I'm
one of
by
the
no
achievements-
means a big achievement hunter, but
Yeah, one of them that I'm working on, you have to catch 100 fish in a row without messing up.
yeah, that's wrong.
And the furthest I've got is like 22, I think. So I'm gonna be busting my ass for that one.
So that's good. And then the actual genius part is the Nook Plus achievements, which is a 5 set of randomly generated tasks for you to do, which also give you points, and you exchange these points for goods, which allow you to go to other islands. So this is big because after you've exhausted all the resources of your village, you can go to an island and rinse and repeat. So you can, if you want, play for a long time.
Make all the furniture you want to make. It does a really good job of like, you have very consistent resources you can get every day.
Yeah.
But if you're working towards a project and you really want to get it done, you can do these side tasks
and zero in on it, and make money.
I really like the way that those the way those achievements encourage you, kind of from a design perspective, because
Shut up.
they kind of make you do some stuff that you might not do otherwise. Like, someone might not ever give a fuck about talking to the villagers. And so like, oh, I have a thing that tells me to go talk to villagers, I guess I'll try it. And then you go talk to a villager, and then you find out, oh, I can earn DIY recipes by visiting a villager in their house.
Another good one that I think is healthy is take a picture. Because you can do it so easily, but also you're like, you know what, it's kind of cute to take pictures, so it kind of like makes you want to. What I really don't like. Sorry, go ahead, Joe.
I've taken so many pictures just because in this game.
Yeah.
Like,
I made a new Twitter for this game to upload pictures because I was like, wait, I don't use Twitter. I just use it to sometimes follow people. But I was like, I don't want to be posting pictures here because everyone that follows me is people I haven't talked to in a long time. Like, I had a Twitter in high school, and it's just kind of like a leftover one. By the way, y'all should follow me on this new Twitter and see my pictures. But one achievement I really don't like is customize your furniture. This one's really annoying because, one, it's taking your customized resources, and two, you can't customize everything. So it's not like, okay, I'm going to go buy whatever's at Timmy's shop and then customize that. No, most of that stuff can't be customized. You have to build a DIY wooden cabinet, which you already have one in your house, so you're just going to customize this and then gift it to someone, I guess. Maybe that's what I'll do with my customized shit.
You don't have to. You can just pick up the one you already have and change it.
Yeah, that's annoying.
I think like catch 5 fish is a better task than customize furniture.
Especially,
And if you don't do your points every day, you get like a multiplier. You get like a 2 times when you come back. But you
always get to 2 times. Your first 5 are always times 2 at the beginning of the day.
No, that's a time thing. It's you left it overnight, and it became times 2.
No, I've always had time 2 once every day.
That's because you left it over. I guess it's the same. You left it overnight and then reset and again. Anyways, that means if one of them is like, catch this kind of rare fish, it's gonna stay there and it's gonna clog up your thing, but also gives you goals to do, which I really like. So that's the part that they really fixed. Joe, you're really shaking it. It's scaring me.
I'm sorry, my drawer was stuck and I was moving it.
Shake it real good.
What I really don't like, and what I think they've made worse in this game even, and I mean, time will tell, but I said something on the Discord the other day, and everyone gave me funny emotes. I said, Harvest Moon and games like that kind of ruin the magic of Animal Crossing for me. And everyone was like, scoffing at me. But the reason is, Animal Crossing characters are so nothing.
They don't have the personality that Harvest Moon characters have.
They don't have a personality. They're not even unique.
Well, they have a personality. Their personality is
just shared with 50 other characters. Yeah, everyone has a bird in their town that lifts weights, and it really stuck out to me when I watched people playing through the beginning, and all of their nice, different villagers were saying the exact same things as my villagers. Yeah. And in a couple of days, one of you will see and post the conversation with a townsfolk where they break the fourth wall. And you're going to be like, whoa, this is such funny dialogue. And that'll be the 4th time I have seen that dialogue. and it will be with a fourth different character. Like
There's I did all of Discord on my my Discord
there's this really funny there's this funny dialogue where a character could talk about how they're living in a video game and they're like, isn't it weird how that there's always music around and Tom Nook gives you all these loans for free and et cetera, and it's like, haha, funny. I've seen 5 posts of that almost with different characters saying it, and it really just takes away from the magic.
Yeah. If I'll concede a weakness to this game, it's that whenever I reacted funny to your Harvest Moon thing, I thought it's because I thought you were talking about the gameplay, and I was like, they're different games. But
they're pretty
if you're
similar.
talking about the villagers, you're right. Harvest Moon villagers are way better.
And so they could fix this, and this would have been a great time to fix it because man, they made such a good game here. Instead, they doubled down. Do you know how many villagers are in this game?
Like 600.
Yeah, there's like 400 villagers in this game.
Some hundred.
No, like actually like 400 is the number I've heard. So maybe that was an over-exaggerated number. I don't know. Someone do the math. The point is,
I think it actually is at the very least 400.
Yeah.
The thing is, so they added more characters, but what they should have done, in my opinion, and what would have made this like a slam dunk 5 out of 5 for me, as opposed to the very strong, like probably 4 out of 5 it still is if they cut down the characters, but then gave them actual little storylines, and unique personalities, and they don't have to be very serious. But like, what if your bunny character goes on an awkward date with the pig character, and then they have a little storyline about that, or one of them,
and then we make it B-stars,
or one of them has beef with Tom Nook, and you have to settle their differences. Now, the proper NPCs, the not villagers, but like Tom, Timmy, Blathers, the Able sisters, they do have storylines. Isabel. I found out by watching a video. They have storylines. Bradley probably knows about this.
Yeah.
But the way they work is you have to talk to them on a specific day every year, and then every 3 days from there you get a little bit more story, so you can completely miss the starting point of this and then just never get it. It should just be like a social link Harvest Moon heart system where they each have the little storylines, yada yada. Those are my complaints of this game.
Yeah, and it's like in this game, occasionally when you talk to one of your neighbors, you get the option to like give them a gift. It doesn't even have to be their birthday, because like I was just talking to a dude and I had an option for like, hey, I have something to give you. And I mean, I don't know this for a fact, but I'm highly under the impression you could give them anything and they'd be like, oh, I love it, thank you.
You can't give them bells. I tried to give them bells. Once like, I can't take this. Here you go, and give it back to me. Damn it.
Speaking of that, there's this post on Twitter right now where some guy gave Cat a litter box, and he goes, well, one good deed deserves another. Here, have a squat toilet.
Whoa!
That's nice. But I bet that's randomized. But Tyler has talked about this once, where Animal Crossing on a story level is potentially like a S-tier game because you're making all these little stories in your head.
What?
Yeah, you did like you did, or maybe this was Bradley, but one of you did like a review of Animal Crossing one time.
Tyler told us had a really good story time for us.
This was back when we were doing hot take reviews. One of y'all did it. It was Tyler. He did an Animal Crossing one.
I don't remember.
I can't prove this because that Slack is obliterated, but you super did.
But okay, so everybody's asking like, what makes this Animal Crossing different? I've played all the others. The big thing to me is they've taken customization to a whole new level where you can do so much, and like you can customize your like furniture and bedding with like example colors and stuff they have, but you can also your own custom designs you can make for like your bedding, your phone case, all this other stuff. Like my phone case right now is Jing's Hunter license case from Hunter x Hunter.
Sick. I've seen people with the Rotom phone as their phone case.
Yeah, like not only that, you can decorate all of the town. You get the place where the villagers go.
This is really important.
Where the town hall goes, where the store goes. Like you are actually governing.
You can put furniture outside. Like what a game
changer. The level of customization here fucking blew my mind when they announced the game, because in New Leaf, in all the previous Animal Crossing games, you show up to an already built town and usually you just move in. In New Leaf, they're like, oh man, we want to give the player as much control as possible. In New Leaf, you show up to a pre-built town, but you're the mayor, and you can spend money on town projects like, oh, we're going to build a bridge here, or, you know, if you play earlier in the day, you can adjust the town schedule so the shops are open earlier or later. And I don't know, doing all those town projects like building fountains and bridges and stuff, I was like, oh man, I don't know what they're ever going to do. Like every Animal Crossing game from now on, you're going to be the mayor, because I can't imagine having more control than this.
They did one better.
It shows how little imagination I had, because they announced this game. Like, oh, you just fucking build the town from scratch.
Just fucking do it.
Literally from
You can terraform it.
Yeah.
It's great. I'm really into that. I'm trying to make a One Piece amusement park, and I don't think it's gonna be possible, but I'm gonna see.
We're gonna be playing this game a year from now, and we'll finally have terraforming unlocked for us casuals.
I want it so fucking bad.
Oh, Bradley has it like tomorrow, probably.
I hope.
Dude, I got fences for your Wayno town, by the way.
Thank you. Yeah, like, so a part of this is we've all been playing together, and that's very fun. Sending each other gifts. Going to each other's stores
every morning of our shops. Like, this is why I have my shop this morning, because they won't want any of this. Like, we just one thing to know is that I never got to talk about this at all. I am someone that hates these games. In fact,
I didn't know Joe was on my side.
I really don't like these very open-ended games where it's like Stardew Valley or Minecraft or any of this stuff. There's really no kind of end objective.
I don't either. Unless
Monster
there's a
Hunter
good
hits the line, because you can play Monster Hunter forever, but you have very distinct like goals you want to hit in Monster Hunter.
Combat.
Like, combat. Plus the combat's fun.
It's not a sandbox.
Right. This game, I think, has done a really good job in, I don't know, like, I don't feel like pressured when I'm playing the game. I don't feel like I'm not, like, I think the one thing I did incorrectly was I destroyed all my rocks day one, which fucked me on iron. And Tyler's rocks. I also destroyed Tyler's rocks.
You can't do that. Oh yeah, you can destroy people's rocks, but you can't like mine them for iron.
But I've been really enjoying this game. I think just the idea of like I just start collecting stuff, I can put them in the ground, and like being able to just like kind of make things and pre-purchase things, items that I already know are going to look good, and put them in the world is a big appeal to me, which turns me off of Minecraft a lot, because like you have to custom make everything. Y'all didn't touch on this, but there's also like a design maker that you can make where you have pixels and you go in through and you color it.
Tyler talked about it a little bit.
A little bit, he hinted at, but like you can make your own. But they also have a system on the phone called the Nook Link, where you can scan QR codes that people have and post online and transfer it into your game.
Question about that: I was scanning some JoJo designs, but it would only let me scan one. Why is that?
So it'll hold one design in your
phone,
and
then you can do the next.
And then you download it to the game, and then you can scan another one.
So just have your game open.
Okay, let's talk about that. Nintendo is so weird with online. So one thing that irks me also with this game is the amount of text boxes you have to go through to get to the online, which might seem like a minor thing, and in some cases it is, but when every day people are trying to get in and out of your town, they only go in for 5 minutes, because they're like there's not too much point in staying too long in others' towns unless you just want to chill. So you're just in and out. So you have to open and close your gates pretty frequently, and you have to go through many text boxes, and you can't speed up the text, so there's a set like time, and then the loading to get to the town is quite lengthy, and then you have to ride the airplane, which at least leads to memes where you like post shit posts for people to see on the airplane. But
it's like, how much is really going on under the hood?
Sure, they have to load the whole island, but like, do they have to make everyone stop? What if it's just like, okay, you can't interact with objects, but you can at least move around while someone's loading in or something?
Yeah,
it's crazy.
I bet it's trying to like catch you up.
People keep moving around.
I think it's cute every time it happens. It makes me excited when the little spinny thing comes up and you see people come in. I think it's adorable.
It's just too long.
But it's frustrating.
No, it's a great looking
this game has some loading screens. Even just for going into a building, I'm like, okay.
God, like getting a DIY a DIY thing outside is fucking revolutionary.
It really is.
Oh yeah, for sure. I have one outside my house. It's great.
Same.
Um,
I have like this hobo bonfire on my beach.
It's great.
It's redneck bonfire,
Tyler took a great picture there.
complete with like one of those metal lawn chairs with tiki torches and like a cardboard box with a coconut juice on it.
I got a mini fridge that serves as a dresser for some reason. So if you interact with it, it's like, should I change my clothes? And then you can change your clothes in there.
Oh wow.
That's interesting.
It's I put Tyler gave me a little coconut drink, and it's on top of that, and I have a little chair.
I have a bamboo lunchbox.
Bradley's house is a demonic chamber.
I don't know what you're talking about, man.
It's a testament to Space Station 13.
Yeah.
Can that be our thumbnail? The picture I took in Bradley's chamber.
Yeah,
That would
that's
be fun.
true. That's
It's
a
either
good
gonna
idea.
be Joe's
Did
or
you ever
Kelly's.
find me? You had a bunch of people over in your house, and I went and hid in that room and just sat myself in that room, just like staring at that emotion.
Yeah, you did like the exclamation mark face, so your pupils were like dilated.
Yeah, and I just sat there and like I honestly like put the game to the side and started playing Grand Blue because I wanted to just sit there and wait for you to find me and say something.
Joe, there's also that picture we took on your bed.
Oh yeah.
Joe had a bed that's a giant clamshell, like a Milo D'Angelo painting, and then we just like laid there, and it was nice. Bradley's character is cute to the point of disgusting.
Yeah.
Yo, my character is the most kawaii thing maybe possible.
She's got the big old kawaii eyes, and she has little heart cheeks, and then he takes very inappropriate pictures with her.
Kelly said I should catfish people online
I
and be
don't
like,
think
"Oh,
that
come to
will
my
work.
village and give me bells," and then kick them out.
Well, good game. This is the kind of game though I have less stamina for playing it than you guys do, because I just do like my what we call our dailies, where I just raid my town and maybe do one Nook trip. But you guys, I'm falling behind as a result. But
I've gotten to the point now where I'm waiting for the town hall to be opened up again. I want to see where that goes. But like right now, I go around, collect all the fossils that show up on my island. I might do the special guest that shows up on your island, like Sahara or Wisp or Gulliver, and do their thing. Talk to my villagers, and then I kind of that's about it. And then maybe purchase something and pay off my loans. But that's about it.
sell some hot items.
Yeah. But like that's the other thing about this game is that like it's so well paced to where, except for like the first 3 days, like the first 3 days you really need to get your checklist done so you're not too far behind. It opens up to you like doing stuff. I feel at the same time it's just very easy breezy in what you can do.
Easy breeze. I bet there's a significant number like of players who don't make it past that first day because of the 30 iron nuggets. Like, I bet there's like at least a 5% drop off rate at that point of the game.
God, that was panic mode. It's like
Because it's not obvious how you're supposed to really get those with
Like if I didn't
advanced
know the
strats.
trick for repeatedly hitting rocks, I would be like, "What the fuck?"
I would just be clearing that up today, or I would have to do like so many Nook trips to do it.
I did 3 or 4 Nook trips for that.
Yeah, but that's because you knew what it was. You knew the trick at that point, which is
On another note, though, I got my first Tarantula Island. From that island alone, you get 33 iron, or like somewhere in that range.
Jesus.
well, but you're supposed to take home tarantulas. It's a tarantula island.
I took home a stack of 30 iron.
All right. I mean, iron's not a problem anymore, but those first days, like a lot of people run into that problem.
All right, cool. Animal Crossing is good. You should buy it if you want to play it. Just be aware to not play it with your friends at your house sitting on the couch, but you can play it online with each other.
And if you don't have friends, I think there's really good single player options here with the Nook Mile system.
And there's like Animal Crossing community is great. I think people are inviting them over, but I don't know. Well, Bradley, do you have anything against that?
Close this off here.
Against what?
The Animal Crossing community?
Like the forums?
Yeah.
No, it's fucking great. I love it. Dude, the Animal Crossing community is very wholesome. Like, you'll show off your village and everyone's just like, "Oh, I love it."
Yep.
I'm following the subreddit where people post QR codes. I don't usually download stuff, but it's just nice to see.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm sure we will continue playing this, and if some swerves come down the line, I'm sure we'll talk about it again.
Yeah.
Because there's events coming up, so we got Easter.
Yeah, they had a Nintendo Direct where they're already talking about the next events.
Yeah. As a bonus in that Nintendo Direct, new Smash character is cool. But also Tyler got his Bravely Default, which everybody wins.
Oh yeah, the demo. Tyler, did you download the demo already?
I did, and I haven't got to play it yet.
Ooh.
Yeah.
The art looks great in it so far. So okay, can I do a minute about Bravely Default?
You can do a minute.
You can
From
do
the,
it.
okay, from what we know about the company, it's actually a very small company that's like owned by Square Enix. Square Enix bought out this little small indie studio. They're Japanese, they're hard at English, so their marketing seems a little bit off. It seems like very odd, like not the best marketing IMO. But from the trailer alone, the art looks great. They still have this 2D, 3D aesthetic. The new 3D models look great.
I hear the music is banging, which I guess you haven't heard yet.
Revo is the composer for it. It's awesome. Like I was discussing with Briley a little bit today, Bravely Second was very hard to maintain because it was like a Golden Sun sequel, where the story just felt So I'm hoping the main thing that kept me interested in Bravely Default was the story. Like the combat was great and the story was great. So I'm really hoping Bravely Default 2 has something to bring to the table with the story.
Good minute. I'm excited for 51 games because it's 51 games and there's Mahjong in there and fucking battle tanks. Like, what are they thinking? Joe, you're muted.
I'm low-key excited for it as well.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that too. Like, I just like, oh man, this looks great. I think Willard would really like this game. And then Willard was like, I'm getting this game. I was like, thank God.
Yeah, it's gonna be a good time. Well, thanks for joining us in our Animal Crossing talk. But actually, we do have one more talk, so I lied. Stay.
Oh, okay, we're recording now.
Yes, because we're gonna talk about Promised Neverland because Joe has gotten further and he wants to talk about it.
Is he caught up or what?
No. So Promised Neverland, I'm at chapter 125, I think. I'll have to double check. I've been enjoying it. I think the first arc of it is a really good non-battle manga. Has some wonderful like shots and creepy visuals. When Bradley talked about why he stopped reading it, one of his things was that he could see where they were coming from in their solutions, but he couldn't see how they got to their solutions.
Something like that.
Or no, it's like I understand how they got to their
It was
solutions.
a suspension of disbelief.
I just don't think anyone would
think that far ahead.
Yeah, I don't know.
I had that exact same feeling when I was going through that arc, Bradley. You're not alone. I kept going with it because I want to see where it's going. I will say that the two characters that do that the most, they kind of explain a little bit more why they're kind of special with everything.
Special.
They explained why they were special from chapter 1.
Yeah, they were like
yeah.
They're just the smartest kids, so that's why they're smart.
But I'm at
why is Batman so smart? Because he's fucking smart.
I mean, but he's Batman.
why Tony Stark? Well, actually, there's some weird shit behind that.
No.
No, we're not gonna talk about.
We don't talk about
that. But like once you get past that arc, I feel like after that they have this whole like thing in the woods that's interesting because they have to survive.
Soft spoiler alert for after anime stuff.
Yeah.
I shoot me a message when this is done.
Yeah, you can step away, Tyler.
Yeah.
If you want to go in completely clean.
Yeah.
I forgot they made the anime for it.
Yeah. So once you get into the forest, it becomes a little more action heavy, and then past that, it starts to get really action heavy. That being said, the one arc that I'm thinking of that's like extreme action heavy was really, really good.
It's maybe like my favorite. It's my favorite for other reasons than It's very different. It's just a good survival tactical battle shonen. It's an arc called Goldie Pond, and it has a very good antagonist, which I really liked. And I liked how they went about fighting him. And Yugo is a great character. Actually, that's a spoiler. Never mind.
But so I then past that arc.
And that's where the troubles come. It's right after Goldie Pond.
It's right after Goldie Pond,
where Promise Neverland
it
stumbles.
It's yes. So a big thing about Promised Neverland is the big appeal to me is you have our protagonists are in a situation where they absolutely cannot win by brute force. Like they can't force their way through it. And now we're getting to the point where they actually could potentially do that, and the series becomes immensely less interesting. And because the whole idea starting out was that we're kids, they're going to kill us. We have to get out of here, but we can't just bust our way through the gates. We have to come up with this plan and figure things out. And a lot of the stuff that's being talked about now, it just doesn't seem. It's that suspense. I can't suspend my disbelief in what they're doing.
They introduce characters that can fight these monsters, and I really don't like that group of characters, by the way.
Same.
They're super uninteresting.
What if
They're like
demons all along?
Oh, what if Bradley? No. What I really don't like is right after the Goldie Pond arc, you get this time skip.
Mm-hmm.
Or this they do so much stuff off screen, and I was reading Weekly at that point, and I was caught up. And it was so jarring to watch them have done so much off screen. They again, softish spoilers, they infiltrate a town, and they just you finish off an arc, and then the next chapter is they're infiltrating this town, and they get what they need. But then there's so much lore that they could have expounded on when they were visiting that town. It was our first look into demon society,
how
on a normal scale, not just the farm production side of it. So it was what is going on? They were trying to move the plot so fast.
Yeah.
And shit gets magical.
Yeah.
And I guess that's fair, there always had to be some sort of that element here.
Yeah, I guess there's demons.
But it's
yeah.
Are they demons?
No, from Joe, from that first part, we know about the segregation of the
We know
world,
there's
right?
there's
maybe we don't know the specifics in that first arc, but
we don't.
There early on, there's a thing that's introduced where it's there's no way that this could happen without some sort of supernatural force.
Yeah.
But then they very dive into that. Have you?
That's
where are you?
I am. They are talking to the underground resistance.
Okay, in the tree.
In the tree, and the leader has had a meeting with someone else.
Yeah,
and it's putting his pawns in place. Yes, I think so.
Yeah. Okay.
Gielan, yes.
Yeah, Gielan.
Yeah. That's where I am right now.
It gets a little better from there, and then it's mixed. It's been a mixed ride. I haven't caught up all the way yet, but I hear there's some good stuff ahead of me. I just really didn't like. I finished the arc you're currently in, and then they introduced some stuff where it's I don't know if there can be good in this, but I'll have to check it out.
Yeah, I've taken a break from it because I blaze through it like you usually do.
Yeah,
with this stuff, and then I got to the Goldie Pond, and I was just well, I kind of lost interest because it's I don't know.
I'll let you know if it has a good ending because that's around the corner.
Is it? Do they know when chapter is gonna end on, or?
No, I don't think so. But
okay.
I mean, you're in the final arc now.
I am. Okay.
It's a long arc, and I would say that there's two halves now to that arc, but.
But I'm enjoying it. I wish I could catch up to it so I could read it weekly because I feel like I would enjoy it a lot more weekly when I don't finish the chapter and look oh my god, I have so much more to read. It's the opposite of One Piece where I finish the chapter, I'm oh my god, I have so much more I get to read. So
yeah.
But yeah, I'm enjoying it. I want to see where more of it goes. But where I am right now, I don't think it's the best part of it. But I think if you are interested at all in it, you should definitely go for it. The guy that draws it has some really great shots when he
Page
really
turns.
wants, great page turns. Like when he really wants to make something creepy or just shock you, he can do it.
Very good PG-13 gore, but it's really pushing that R boundary.
Yeah.
It's a very interesting manga to be so popular in Shonen Jump right now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's it for Promised Neverland. That's all I gotta say about it.
Someone get Tyler back here.
Someone get that fool.
That fool. So we have three of us have watched the new Castlevania season. I actually just finished today.
I did too.
Oh, cool. And Tyler finished earlier this week. What did y'all think? Castlevania season 3, the Netflix show. For clarification.
Yes. So Castlevania falls into the category of shows that I was doing my laundry. I put this on because I thought it was going to be bad, and by the end of episode 1, I had forgotten about the laundry.
Oh no! But was the laundry done?
That the laundry got eventually done, but it got to the point where I was like, I gotta finish this laundry so I can watch the rest of the season. Like, okay. The first episode of Castlevania is one of my favorite episodes of all of television.
Wow,
it's so good. I love it. Season 2 came out, and I was kind of like, oh, this is good. I enjoy it. It's just more Castlevania. Season 3 came out, and I really, really, really liked it.
Season 2 is still my favorite, I think. So I'm surprised you were less up on it. I
don't know. The chemistry between the three characters didn't really click with me that much. They introduced a lot more characters, and I really felt like it overblowed the show at that point. But then we're in season 3 right now. I think we have a good cast of mainstay characters that we can follow.
I have a compliment sandwich for Castlevania. Yeah. Maybe it's not even a sandwich. Maybe it's just a bread and a patty. So it's more like a gyro or something.
Yeah.
But Tyler, you really like this season. What did you like so much about it? Let's start with you.
Castlevania has always had this. In video games, I played them for the first time back in 2006 on the DS, and it's always been this weird genre that kind of has been in limbo, where there's an entire genre called Metroidvania.
Yeah.
And by the time that genre really started to kick off with that keyword, Castlevania kind of fell out of existence.
Yeah, when that keyword was really popping off, we were getting games like Lord of Shadows, I think, which are the 3D ones, which are action games, not Metroidvania games.
Mm-hmm. And Hollow Knight came out, and it's these are Metroidvanias, but Castlevania wasn't making games anymore. I think they haven't had a game in 6 years.
Neither was Metroid. Metroid and Castlevania have been dead, homie. That's kind of weird when you think about it.
But wow, this is probably the best video game adaptation of anything ever. Maybe.
Sure. I think the best part about it is that it doesn't try to take the actual storyline of Castlevania and force it into its setting. It's more or less just taking inspiration and different aspects of it and putting it
This
together.
is my problem with Castlevania.
Yeah?
What you like is my problem.
Really?
So a loose adaptation would have been fine. Castlevania's never had too much plot, but they have lore that you can draw from. Mm-hmm. This is not a Castlevania show. This is a fantasy show with a Castlevania coat of paint.
Yeah.
They are touching on the lore, and they did that in this most recent season.
They will grab bits of lore for the 9th and 10th episode of each season.
Yeah.
They will be hey, here's this enemy, but the storyline, okay, there's something that we're gonna get into some spoilers here.
Alucard's lore?
No, everyone's lore. Alucard's been done pretty well, actually, and he has some of his moves, which is cool. Mm-hmm. I love how he has this teleport dash where it's colorful.
Oh, it's great.
Yeah.
Man, when he did that, I think it was in season... No, he did that in season 1 even.
Yeah, he did.
Does it in every season.
Yeah, it's fucking rad. Alucard. Well, I mean, speaking of Alucard, he had the weakest storyline this season. But
He did. He had the strongest ending, I feel like.
so the coolest thing, I did not like that ending for his storyline. The coolest thing about Castlevania as a series is that it's JoJo's. Like it's so good. Like not much fiction has the generational storytelling that JoJo's and Castlevania has. And that's like the coolest part. It's so key to the identity. Each game is a descendant in the Belmont family and then some branching trees. Now, keep in mind, I am no Castlevania master. Actually, my first Castlevania game I played and didn't watch was Rondo of Blood on the PS4 when it came out in like 2017. So
I remember you telling us about that. You were beating it.
Yeah, and I also played Symphony, and I've watched a lot of lore videos and all this, which is like that's fine. I'm not writing the show, but I know enough, you know. The problem is, and the creator has gone on to say, he hasn't played the games. He just grabs he's just writing his story and inserting Castlevania stuff into it. And it's a pretty good story, and the biggest strength of Castlevania as a show is the conversations. Like the dialogue between two characters is riveting. And there's a lot of that in this season, but then there's also like Isaac runs into stubborn people and is like, "Oh, humanity sucks. People don't want me to march into their town with my armies. I'm so right."
Like it's like you're not getting here with the army of monsters. Let me through. It's like no.
And then Isaac is like, "Why would you betray me? Like, why are you so rude?"
Yeah.
And Hector is just a fucking 0 IQ piece of shit. But the dialogue is really good, and the banter is always really good, and there's very good conversations. But like, my hopes for this show was that by season 3 or 4 we would have moved on to Simon, because that's how the lineage goes. You get Trevor and Sypha, then you get Simon, which would be really interesting because Simon doesn't have any supporting characters in the story of those games. So either you have a very interesting story about isolation and being lonely, or you make up some characters, which they've made great made-up characters. Like, the characters of Hector and Isaac are from games, but they're very loose adaptations of those characters.
Judge.
So was the Mad Monk? He was based off of the main antagonists from two different games.
Who? Which Mad Monk?
Mad Monk from the newest.
The Priory. The dude that like has these huge eyes.
Oh, puppy dog eyes? Yeah. So I was like, okay, hopefully by season 3 or 4 they're on Simon, and then Simon gets a season or 2, and then we can get to Richter. And everyone wants to get to Richter because that's Symphony of the Night, and you bring back Alucard, it's going to be great. You get Maria, etc., etc. You go on, you get to the future, you get to the DS games with Soma and all that. Everyone would love it, but it's become very clear that they're not adhering to that aspect of the games. And that's really troublesome. But then also, like, the overall story, they've mixed so many of the games together, so it's, like, very clear that they're going its own path, which is cool but like, disappointing.
I think, but to me, it's just like, if you want that story, you should just play the game.
No, because the games don't have as much storytelling prowess as the show. This is one time where if the adaptation expanded on it instead of going like, this is the perfect thing to expand, not the perfect thing to just go on a different route. Like, it's not a Game of Thrones side series where you can just kind of do your own thing, but you have this established world. I feel like they had a really good opportunity to expand on it. So with that being said, though, it's still a very good season, and the show is like it's just a good show. But like, one thing that highlights that is, so what's his name? The guy who's the time traveler.
Saint Germain.
Saint Germain.
Voiced by Billy Nye, which I thought was an interesting person to get for this show. I would not.
I don't know who's Billy Nye.
Bill Nye, the Davy Jones in Pirates of the Caribbean.
Right.
He's in About Time. He's the father in About Time. He does a bunch of other kind of like more like almost romantic comedy, like lower like.
Anywho, he's Saint Germain. So that scene where he's time traveling and he's seeing shit, right? I'm like, oh, what is this a reference to? I'm not recognizing anything here. Like, there's futuristic stuff, and I know that there's an event in Castlevania called the War of 1999, which is this war that you never get to see in the games, but they reference it, and it's where Dracula dies for real. It's like where he dies. So I'm like, well, this looks really futuristic, so I don't know if it's alluding to that. So I go on Reddit, and I go to the episode discussion, and I see so many posts of like, man, that time traveling sequence in the infinite hallway was so cool. I wonder what they were referencing. And I saw so many posts like that. You know what I never saw? Any goddamn answers. They weren't referencing anything. Like, that was just nonsense for future seasons.
But who cares?
That's why Reddit is actually bad sometimes. So, in the pyramid, they talk about there's some couple of websites, and I did this like research. I did the same thing, but I didn't go to Reddit. The point that he's looking for is actually the inverse castle, which is where the person is standing upside down on the library shelves.
Yeah,
right.
That's
In Symphony, when the castle's upside down.
Yeah. There's a scene where in the Infinite Corridor he looks to like a pyramid in the desert. And that's actually a reference to Portrait of Ruin, maybe, because there's an entire desert biome.
I saw people mention that on Reddit. So,
Yeah.
but the thing is, the futuristic stuff.
He knows about toilet paper, man.
No, I meant like the goddamn spaceships. No one was able to pin down what that was all about.
That's
Some people
dumb.
are saying that like maybe this is a way for them to connect the Devil May Cry series that they're gonna make into this series, so that they can make a multiverse.
That's dumb.
I think that
I think that
I think that deals with the mythology of Saint Germain actually as like mythological figure in theosophy.
right. He's a historical figure, Saint Germain,
Yeah.
and that's the thing. The guy who made this loves historical fiction. Like, all of these places that we're going to are historical places, and he loves Christianity and like theology and philosophy. And I feel like he was like, I can make a TV show about that and put the name Castlevania on it, and it's gonna sell. And it is, and it's a good TV show. But it hurts me when people say that this is the best video game adaptation, because it's hardly. It's just a good TV show with the name and some characters from the video game.
Here's my thing. In second season, because it is 3 seasons. The first season was only like four episodes or so.
Yeah, it was 4, then like 8 and 10.
They
or
do
something.
Dracula's Castle.
Yeah, and you know what? That was hype because that was like, I think, the only time they played video game music. That's another thing. Why don't they ever play? Like, there's no love for the video games on this.
Castlevania has great soundtrack, but they did Dracula's Castle. And this one, so we don't know that it's gonna follow Trevor and Sypha. I can see them being in the next season. Yes, I can see it. Hopefully, if it's good, it won't be all about them.
I mean, I think it'll still be about the core, like the 5 to 7 main characters we have right now.
I would love for it to like do an episode or 2 on Trevor and Sypha in like flashback sense, but then let's move on to the next son.
But the next son would have to be an adult, so there wouldn't be a 20-year time skip at least with like what happened to Hector in 20. Like they left too many plot lines on a cliffhanger with Hector and Isaac specifically, so it's like we gotta follow up on those.
Hector and Isaac are the only 2 that I could see like are the 2 ones to really have to close out, because you can probably end Sypha and Trevor whenever you want.
Yeah, Alucard closed out. Trevor and Sypha closed out.
Yeah, it's Alucard stuck in his castle and isn't doing anything. He's immortal, so we don't have to worry about him. It's
actually Isaac's could end as well.
You can't. No, Isaac still has to get to Hector.
He doesn't have to. Like,
he can have a change of heart.
The way I could see it happen, if you do the 20-year time skip, Hector's dead, those vampires are dead, and they failed. Camilla and their entourage failed, and now Isaac rules over that city that he destroyed.
People would not like that, and I don't think I would either, because you spent so much of this season on these 4 vampire sisters, and then you didn't do anything with them the next season.
That are gonna have to do something with.
Yeah, no, dude. Here's the thing: if this show was to be like a 15 season epic, we could still get what I want. But it's not. Like, there's no way this show is gonna go past like
Season 5.
7 to 8. Like that. Like we're going to be in this storyline, and it's a big bummer. We're never gonna get Richter. We're never gonna get anything past Richter at that point.
You know what would be the biggest slap in the face? So this season we introduced the concept of other vampire hunters. And in Portrait of Ruin, we get 2 characters that aren't related to the Belmonts.
Yeah, they just have like the whip. Yeah.
Yeah, it's still Vampire Hunter. Like, the whip is still...
the vampire killer.
Yeah.
Why is his whip called the Morning Star in this? It's the fucking vampire killer. Why did they do that? Like, there's so many little things.
Jonathan Morris and Charlotte Allen.
Yes, right.
But, like, we introduced the concept of other vampire hunters, and that's the DS game where, like, we stray away from the Belmont line and everything, and, you know... the big slap in the face would be, like, if they introduce Richter and Simon is like, oh, these are my long lost relatives.
Oh man, they just skip over Simon.
Oh yeah.
Oh, that's cruel.
So,
they could, because he's like he's the one where they have the least to work with. But I mean,
they introduced the Infinite Corridor. Saint Germain could show up with Simon and Richter at any fucking point now.
That's true.
That could be also how they go too. Is that it shifts? They do like a season where they shift like Saint Germain, and he's jumping through everything, and you see him do all that bullshit.
I hope so, man.
Yeah,
let me talk about the good fan service moments though, because I've been too negative for a show that I do like. Sorry, Tyler. Go on.
Oh no, I'm just very excited now.
In season 1, this is the first time we've talked about this. In season 1, the mechanism to move the castle is the save points from Symphony of the Night, where it's like that weird like dodecahedron that like spins around. I love that. I love in season 1 where they get to Dracula's castle and they're running on a bunch of gears, and I'm like, that is the most Castlevania thing ever.
That's not the castle. That's underneath the town. That's where Alucard's kept.
Whatever, man. Running on gears is the Castlevania thing. So like, the show is great and the writing is great, but each season it's less and less Castlevania and more its own thing.
This most recent season I really enjoyed because in between every Castlevania game, Dracula's alive again. Unless he's not the main antagonist for the game, he has been resurrected.
Yeah, and there's always a time... I mean, there's like a time skip in the lore where like the vampire... Like the Belmonts of that time were doing something else, and then Dracula comes back.
And in this most recent season, we got this... I think it was a very well-written piece on how... whoever the fuck would revive Dracula.
Yeah.
And it's like, why would they do that? What happens to all the demons Dracula has brought back in his castle? What happened to Alucard, you know? and I really enjoyed that. I think it was done because, like you said, it's good writing and it's not Castlevania's story.
Yeah.
But it's very well done writing about what may happen in between Castlevania games.
Definitely.
And I enjoyed that.
I mean, I feel like Isaac would want to revive him, and I thought at the end of the season that's what the plot would be, because Dracula's the best character on this show for me.
Yeah.
And like his scenes with Alucard in season 2 are so good. So I was missing him, but like the new Vampire Sisters are all great. Isaac was mostly great, except for what I was making fun of earlier, where like Isaac just continuously runs into people who are stubborn and have the right to be, and then he's just like, why do I even try? And then he just gets all angsty. And I was hoping with what the captain was saying, the captain was great. I was hoping with what the captain was saying, it would maybe turn into a thing where Isaac realizes how edgy his goals are and like how immature it is, but we're not quite there. We're somewhere in the middle right now.
Yeah.
Hector though. Yeah. Hector's a hard simp, and here's the thing. Hector is in a way better spot now. Even though it seems like he got screwed over, he's in an infinitely better spot. But it
Hector
wasn't his
likes where
plan.
he is.
Like, he got duped into it, which makes him seem like just... I mean, that's his character, though. He got pussy whipped by Leona? Lenore. He got pussy whipped by Lenore, he got pussy whipped by Dracula, and that's just kind of who he is.
But at least when he's getting pussy whipped by Lenore, he actually gets pussy.
Yeah, it's true.
Um,
A lot of sex that episode.
yeah.
Yes!
Sex is bad, guys. Don't do it because you get enslaved to vampires or killed by twins in a bad plot line.
That was the best. We need to, like, Willard, just go ahead and say, like, at the end of this, we need to record and put spoiler warning at the beginning of this.
Okay,
Because-
I'll post it on the video title.
Yeah.
You're right.
But
'cause now-
holy fucking shit. Whenever he goes, I said my father didn't like to use magic weapons. I never said I didn't. And I was
pretty good.
just like,
the fact he was using his like levitating spinny sword,
Yep.
which I recognize from those games, that's the shit I like.
honestly, I was like, man, I wish I was in one of these sex scenes right now because my dick is hard.
Okay, well, that's recorded for the world to know. Drink your wine, sir. Keep drinking.
It was so great. The
I mean, the Lenore scene was pretty steamy. Like, you're not gonna get a no out of me, dog.
the writing is great and all the interactions between the characters, and there's this constant build-up all season long, and then you get just 3 episodes, action, and it's just
Action, wink.
like this big tease all the way up to this climax, and it's just like,
Man, we're using the word action and climax in very interesting ways today. So I don't like the Alucard storyline of this season. One, because the twins were immediately sketchy. Two,
Yeah.
because I was like, are they related? From the first time, like, they're sparring and they're just like rolling around and giggling, I'm like, they're having a threesome, so I hope they're not related. Just I hope so. Just for some clarity in this world.
I saw a Reddit post about that, and they're like, oh yeah, apparently thinking they were related is racist.
What? Why?
I don't know. Someone just goes, yeah, I got called racist for thinking they were related.
They had a familiarity of people that I assumed were brother and sister. My bad.
They talked. They had similar speaking patterns. They both had gray hair. Like,
Yeah.
So,
Sue
one
me.
character we haven't discussed. It was a character that I really liked, and I kind of like how his whole arc and everything in the show was the judge of the town.
yeah,
I strongly dislike that.
Really?
That last reveal. So as much as I like this show, I don't love it. Aside from my video game fanboyism.
Yeah.
There's an aspect of this show that is just something I don't like in shows, and it's the cynicism and the gloominess of this show. And this season, every single storyline ends on that beat.
Yeah.
And that one specifically, it's like, oh, he was killing all these children, which I wasn't even sure why he was killing them. I think I missed that.
I think the big part of the show too is that like that everyone has this kind of sense of evil in them, like the general public.
Everyone is capable of sinning, but we've seen
Yeah.
that. Like,
Yeah.
even this guy needs to be an asshole so that Sypha and Trevor can end the season as gloomy assholes as well. Like,
he's the judge, the jury, and the executioner.
why was he executing those kids? Just because, haha, evil?
He didn't like kids.
Because he didn't like them running around in the town.
Oh, come on.
That's why. Like,
I liked that character a lot until that reveal.
I like the character even more after that reveal.
Oh, you.
I think it was a control thing where
It
he
was a
just
control
wanted everything to be perfect in the town, and
Yeah, because he laments about the city, how every small thing in a town is an issue compared to a city where like murders and stuff aren't really like kind of
You know what else is a big thing? Murdering the children.
right.
you know what? Let's spin.
Did somebody say murdering children?
Bradley's favorite.
Let me spin this web. All right, this is gonna be a convoluted web right
Oh,
here.
boy.
I can't wait. To get my favorites.
We're about to get into some One Piece Wayno talk shit.
All our main characters are tied together in some semblance through evil monsters and vampires. All right?
Mhm.
And it's always been, all of these characters have always kind of been them versus humanity.
Mm-hmm.
Whether it's Hector and Isaac and just like their shitty past,
Trevor too
Alucard,
in some way, because he was the Belmonts start the show as outcasts.
the
Yeah.
speakers are outcasts
yeah.
as well, because they go against the way of Christianity,
Yeah.
which is what a majority of Europe is at that time.
Right.
All of them are characters against humanity, and it just paints another evil picture of humanity.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And-
but humans bad needs to be nuanced.
But we get that nuance through Isaac's story.
And Hector and Trevor and Simon and all these
Hector
other.
just gets cut by
Yeah.
vampire women.
But like the idea is like the general populace as a whole is terrible when you're thinking as its whole. Like there's even the whole point where there's a big fucking ball of dudes trying to kill Hector.
God, that was so
Legion
cool
was
though.
great.
Legion was fantastic. When Tyler pointed it out that it was Legion, I was like, oh. It was
Yeah,
like
I was
fighting those
geeking
big
out.
heartless waves in Kingdom Hearts 3.
That's the whole opening to this show, is that the ignorance of like the people in the community and the populace can bring down these great individuals.
Absolutely. That's so we're all agreeing that the show is cynical, which was my problem, which was what started this conversation. I think the show is potentially overly cynical. Trevor is kind of like already starting at a lower level, like a anti-hero at the beginning, and then becomes more of a hero, and now he's going back to anti-hero. Sypha is just crazy, and I love her. Trevor and Sypha is, oh man, their chemistry is so good.
Sypha's combat.
God,
Sypha's
Sypha's combat
Sypha's
in this
fucking
fucking
badass.
season has been so good. Like she
Our-
was okay in the previous seasons, but this one was so good. Like they really got really creative.
Oh, I think even like Sypha's always been the MVP, but I think Trevor stole the show in combat wise in episode 10.
With the dual whips.
Man, when he pulled out those
Ah!
goddamn dual whips.
He just,
Oh.
like, it does like this side pan where he just like whips it out at his side and it's close up and he brings out the old whip and it's like, oh, this guy's about to die.
And then he does the flaming whip. He did magic. It's good. Everyone loves it.
There's 4 great characters though that are really great supporting characters. It's Saint Germain. We already talked about him.
I like
We
him.
have the merchant, the captain, and the old magician.
Yeah, I believe her name was Mariana or something.
These 3 characters get some nice world building by just being vague enough, but also accepting of the Forge Master and knowing who the Forge Master
Yeah.
is.
I think that's something I should bring up for the strong positives. I think the show has really good world building. And it's also kind of a bummer because it's like, oh, hey, there's heaven and hell, and God is confirmed asshole, and you're all going to hell, and when you're in hell, someone's going to revive you as a demon. So have fun with that existence. So...
Oh, the talking demon.
right. Fly Eyes. That was a great scene.
Yeah.
I really liked Isaac's story.
Yeah.
Isaac's arc was fantastic.
Yeah, it was... Yeah, it was good. And I did like Hector's story, even if he's a dummy.
Yeah.
I wanted to
That's
believe.
what Hector wants, though. He just wants validation.
That's true. It's true.
So here's my one concern about this series is there was a show that had really good world building at one point, and everyone loved it, and everyone hated it by the end of it.
Yeah.
That show was called Game of Thrones.
Yes.
And I'm really concerned about the show because we're starting to get to the point where we have all these different storylines going on at the same time, and we want to see how they connect together. That I don't know how well they're going to be able to connect.
But Joe, Dracula didn't see the fleet of ships. He just didn't see it. He kind of forgot about the fleet of ships.
At least Dracula was a big dummy.
Yeah.
I think their connection's very simple, though, whereas...
They're vampires.
Yeah, if Dracula gets revived, Hector or the Belmonts are going to hunt them down. They hunt night creatures. They hunt vampires. They hunt demons.
I can see at the end of season 4, the 4 sisters get what they want done, and then Isaac... Is it Isaac? No, it's either Isaac or Hector revives Dracula, and he ends up taking over that entire corridor, and that brings us back around to...
Yeah. I think what's going to happen is it's going to be Isaac's army versus Hector's army. They're not going to get to take everything down, and through that, some other batshit crazy monk is gonna try and revive Dracula again.
Right, because remember, they have all the monks spread out now, because they mentioned that where they kept sending them out every day to go spread the word. So
Mhm.
there's still batshit crazy monks out there.
Yeah. So they all went off, and I really like that the mushroom night creature showed up, the spore creature that they infused all of the villagers into.
Spore creature?
The id boss,
Yeah, the main boss.
Oh yes, yeah.
the rainbow boy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like it
The
brainwashed
Bloodborne
them.
enemy.
Yeah.
It brainwashed them.
Yeah.
And I really like that because that shows like who the fuck would revive Dracula? Oh, brainwashed people by night creatures and people who hate humanity.
I love that mystery of like these monks went into this building with a demon one night and they haven't been the same since. They came back crying. I was like, this is a hot mystery.
Yeah.
And they were doing Bloodborne down there. That's great.
I mean, God, like you don't like that. I know your big negative is that the show is deviated so much to Castlevania. For me, I just like that the show hits that high fantasy mark. It's not crazy. It's not like scared to go fucking wild with what it's doing.
Oh yeah, I'm glad for that.
Like that corridor scene, great. The idea of like this Cthulhu monster living in a basement, brainwashing monks, and has himself crucified to like do some.
It's so cool. And then like he absorbs the flames of the whole town to create a portal to hell. Like it's pretty wild. It's pretty out there, and I like it.
It's pretty out there, and you got these crazy like monster design.
You got gravity bombs. You got fucking infinite arrow chan. It's great.
This is just us geeking out now. Castlevania is great. Go watch it.
I got 2 more points to bring up. There's a controversial hot take I have about Castlevania.
Is it widely controversial or will
It is widely controversial.
Oh, okay.
I think this show is technically, on a technical level, not as good as people say. Particularly the animation.
Because of the frame skipping?
Something about the animation, so when they're going in, like in episode 10, they're going in. Right. When they're not going in, it's not that good. And the show is really praised for its animation. It has moments of Sakuga. Do y'all know the term? It's like Sakuga is when the animation gets a big budget influx and you get those moments in every anime where like it looks amazing. Aside from that, like the reason why it's on a technical level a little weird is because the hits are sometimes so flimsy and the audio design is so off. Like when they have good choreography and it's like, so Trevor grabs a wolf's neck in the first episode.
Right.
And he breaks it. And that animation didn't seem forceful enough to break the thick neck of a wolf.
Right.
And that's just kind of like present in a lot of the action scenes where like these rubbery hits that have more like have awkward impact. It's kind of weird. And then another technical aspect is the sound mixing is sometimes all over the place. Like the character voice acting is sometimes really low and it's hard to hear them, and I don't watch stuff with subtitles because I am a very big person of watching the cinematography on the screen, and in animation that's a big thing as well. So like when Saint Germain was in front of the portal, he was saying like, why would you open the like I was like, what are you saying?
I remember that.
And then sometimes like the voice actors, sometimes they sound really natural, which I like. They sound like they're having very natural conversations, and then sometimes it feels very stunted because of the accents all over the place.
That's just 2 characters, and everybody knows who it is.
Who? All of them had like weird moments.
Yeah.
The 2 voice actors for the Vampire Hunters. They felt traditional, like they actually casted people who didn't speak English well.
Yeah.
But it I don't know, just it felt very off to me. Their dialogue interactions with Alucard.
I agree. Their dialogue was very off to me. Sypha, I think this season got really better with her performer and how she was, because she was really off to me season 1 with her dialogue.
Yeah. Sypha's gotten way better.
Sypha's gotten so much better. Like she sounds so much natural in like what she's saying. I think they also got really good at like writing her as well, so they're able to bounce off of her accent a little bit more.
Man,
like
her and Trevor are goals. They're so cute.
yeah,
I'm very
I was
sad that the season ended like that for them.
really worried that one of them was going to die at the end of the season.
They
'Cause
can't
I
die
just-
because they have to make Simon, but wait, they don't care about that. So she is gonna die. There is no Simon. Ugh.
I bet Trevor dies.
He's got to put a seed in her.
I thought Trevor was gonna die this season, though, with that last battle.
God,
Because
he was so
he has a
cool.
whole conflict about himself about caring about Sypha. Like
Yeah.
it gave some really hard like death flags to me. 'Cause-
Sometimes the characters are like awkwardly talking to themselves, and I get that happens in a lot of stuff. But it's like when the when Saint Germain wakes up, he's like he has this whole monologue where it's like, "Here's my character motivation." Right
yeah,
now.
but he knows about toilet paper though.
That was such a good line. Great season, 4 out of 5. I just had to
Yeah.
put my nitpicks because this show is universally loved, and I think it deserves some detraction. But it's fantastic.
Yeah. It's the closest I'll ever get to probably a proper like grimdark Warhammer setting thing, but it's whatever.
It is grimdark. It is.
It's grimdark,
Very
but that
grimdark.
but it does it. It's such a good way where, like, the best way to write a grimdark story is to have characters that are almost invincible, but you still kind of care about them enough. And that can be really hard to balance to do because everyone dies in grimdark, but you still need a person to latch onto. I think.
I feel like Sypha and Trevor could die any encounter.
I agree. It feels like that, but like, I also have enough faith in Trevor and Sypha and their abilities now that they could do a lot. They're not going to just die randomly.
Can we talk about how bad the townsfolk are at fighting the demons? Except for that one town. There's that one town that is like weirdly badass about it, but then every other town is just like standing there and then stabbing slowly as the demons just like shoot all sorts of weird attacks.
This is weird.
Oh, I'm split in two now.
I gotta keep my military formation.
The last thing I wanted to bring up is how has Bradley not watched this show yet? This is such a Bradley show to me.
The only real thing I know about Castlevania is the director for it would really like to animate Berserk.
This show, Bradley, this show feels like Berserk to me. It has such Berserk theming and tone. Not the Puck shit, like the dark shit.
No, Puck's little butt's the best part.
God, Riley, have you watched the first episode of Castlevania? Just the first episode.
But Better Call Saul.
I mean,
I want you to answer my goddamn question.
Wait, what?
The answer is no.
Have you watched the first
No, I
episode?
haven't. Oh, I didn't know you were asking a question.
Yeah, if you watched the first episode, I think you would finish the entire series.
It was actually like I was midway through this season. If y'all remember me asking Bradley, I asked Bradley like a week ago. I was like, "Hey Bradley, do you like what about Berserk do you like?" And he said like these character developments and everything, and I was like, "Oh, this
so
show's really
Castlevania.
grotesque." I thought that maybe be what he likes, but I don't know.
no,
Castlevania is pretty grotesque.
because the first episode clearly points out Dracula's motivation and everything about the show, and it does it so well. I love that first episode so much. I think it's
Now,
good.
Joe, I can barely get this man to watch Better Call Saul. So
I
you're
know,
right.
I know.
Maybe
But
someday.
I'm just saying that if you feel like you want to like know what it's about, just watch the first episode and it'll probably tell you everything you need to know about the show.
It's a pretty good put on the background because you can follow along pretty well, and then like you'll get hooked when it starts hitting.
Yeah.
I think you'll like it because one, it has barely anything to do with the games, like I was complaining about.
Yeah, I
So
heard that part.
You'll be fine.
I'm looking at some of the art right now.
It's got some really good action sequences. Even the ones I was complaining about, like they still don't look bad. Like they're just some awkward moments here and there. So it's fairly well animated. Great character models, great dialogue and themes and motivations.
Character development and just kind of like character conflicts. That's another great thing. Is like this whole series is stemmed off of one person's personal conflict with the world.
Also, big demons and dark religion and literally bloodborne shit.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, like whenever y'all were talking about that Cthulhu thing controlling the monks, that sounded like some Bloodborne shit to me.
The pucks. He's controlling the pucks.
Castlevania. They should put more music.
Yeah, Castlevania would be good. Watch the show.
Yes, watch the show. Also, very short watch, which is great.
Mm-hmm.
Also, I'm out of wine.
Well, that's great because the podcast is just now ending. How are we going to close this one off, boys? What do we got? Oh, we were going to talk about video game intent, but that's fine.
Let's save it for next time, or
We can do a shorty about it.
Yeah. Leave your comment. Like, we have a question for you guys. It's something we've been discussing lately. Basically, do you think, Tyler, I think you can phrase it better because you were the one who was really interested.
Let me, okay, so, fuck, I don't remember where I asked it, and it was much better written down.
It was in the question of the day, right?
Yeah, but I asked it very, so my question that I asked was, are games meant to be played? Do you feel like games are meant to be played in a certain way? Do you feel like games are meant to be played like you read a book or you watch a movie, beginning to finish, left to right, manga, bottom or top right, Z down to the next page, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Do you feel like just games are meant to be played in a certain way?
It's the idea. What brought this up is that in Animal Crossing, it goes by real time.
So I guess we're going to talk about it.
Yeah, no, I think it's fine. I'm into it now.
Example, in real time, things happen in Animal Crossing. So, like, after one day, everything gets built. After the next things get built. But what you can do is you disconnect your Switch from the internet clock, and you can fast forward in time to speed up the process. So the question is, the game is obviously designed that you go day by day playing this game, but you as a player can choose to forgo that through outside means. So it's basically the death of the author question of, like, does the game designer's intent of how you're supposed to be played override yours, or vice versa? It's just the idea of, like, is the game designer's intent the correct way, or is the way that you enjoy and have fun the correct way? And it's kind of that opposing opinion.
Because Bradley was bringing up some examples, and I feel like a lot of examples boil down to sometimes the author is just bad, though.
Yeah.
Because what were some of your examples, Bradley?
I think, like, I had a bunch of examples that would range from like hypothetical book movie scenarios, but I think the one example I came up with that was actually, like, in terms of game design was, like, let's say you're a level designer for a 2D platformer, right? And a lot of thought goes into some of these 2D platforming levels. They're designed to, give you certain momentum, like maybe you'll go here, they'll bring you down this route, so there's a chance you might hit this secret block, whatever. A lot of design goes into these 2D platforming levels. So let's say you're designing this level and you lay out this particular section in such a way that you intend for players to jump over this particular platform. You're intending for them to go up in the air, run on top of this platform, jump off of it. And you put a lot of work into that level. And then you hand it off to beta testers, you release the game, early access, whatever the fuck. And every single person, every single one who plays the game, instead of jumping over that platform, they just run right under it.
Mm-hmm.
And they do this despite the fact that they would be missing out on much more of the level, and it actually, like, slows their momentum down to do this. But for whatever reason, it's a psychological thing. All the players do this. Is that their fault for not recognizing the design of your level, or did you just not design the level in such a way that people are going to want to jump over that platform?
And I guess the other question is, does it matter that they're not playing the way that you wanted them to play it, but they're getting a different experience out of it? Because I think in that example, the game designer seems like he didn't think out that level right.
Yeah. The other, I brought up one that I think it kind of tangentially connects to this, but it's like the MMO problem, I feel, when it comes to, like, designing encounters. And, like, Destiny was the one that I thought of, where, like, basically you design a gun, Like, and it's a good gun. Everyone likes using it. Everyone has fun using it. And basically, everyone says like, you should go get this gun because this gun is good. It's not the best gun, but it's a solid gun. You should get it and have it in your kit. And to the point where like any other guns of that tier kind of get pushed out because everyone's just going after this one gun. Those other guns aren't bad.
The meta centralizes around this clearly better gun.
So then what ends up happening, you as the designer decide to like either remove that gun, nerf that gun, or just, you know, do something else entirely with that gun to the point where no one can use it anymore. And it upsets the fan base because everyone's put time into this gun, they've upgraded, they've gotten used to it, and they've used it for their encounters. But now you've just gotten rid of it because everyone used it. Like, do you as a game designer have the authority to like do that? To, like, just completely change the way that people play your game because that's not how you want to play it?
I like Joe's example better than mine because I feel like on some level it's closer to the Animal Crossing analogy in that in Joe's example with this gun, there is a strategy players have found that, you know,
it's not a glitch.
It's like the best strategy. You use this gun, you're gonna win more. And the developers can heavily encourage their players to not use that gun to try other stuff, but if that's the best gun, players are just going to use it. Right. And you know, in Animal Crossing, obviously
the best gun is the slingshot.
Well, this gun analogy there is that you don't have to play the game according to the rules. You don't have to take it day by day. You can just cheat and time skip, and you know, they can ask you not to do that, but at the end of the day, if they don't prevent players from doing that, players are going to do it.
And I guess they don't have a choice because they want this to be a game where you can play not connected to the internet.
Yeah.
And as a result, like, there's no way. Tyler, I feel like you've been thinking.
Yeah, Tyler.
No. I've been letting y'all vent. I have various opinions on it.
Yeah.
Because I am a designer, and this goes into there's a I have a book somewhere that's basically almost like the thesis work of the person who made Journey, very popular indie game way back in the day.
It's a good game.
And then there's the concept of like you said, like Joe says, the death of the author or the death of the artist. Is art for you or is art meant for others? And it becomes odd because it's this weird entertainment medium where you put in what you want to put in, but what you put in doesn't mean anything unless somebody on the other end receives something out of it. And that could be entertainment, that could be anger, that could be joy, that could be sadness.
Death of the author is hard to reconcile with our examples because a lot of our examples seem to be oversights and bad balancing.
Yeah.
But there's a game example that we could probably think of that is more like Death of the Author. Like, let's see. Like, a game has an intent, but then everyone else sees it differently, and then you're like, oh, the players are playing wrong. I meant for people to feel this, but they're taking a whole different...
Wouldn't it be like wave dashing in Melee?
It would be like wave dashing in Melee. That's the one. That's a really good example.
An example to me that comes to mind is Cube World. Like, look at the beta that had
Cube
people
World,
putting in hundreds to thousands of hours, and then I'll claim this honestly as an indie unknown, because he may not have known better, and what he did was implement certain UX features that on paper seem like, oh yeah, this makes sense. Like, what clarity and information is key. Obviously, we want people to be able to read a map, but then you lose that intangible exploit.
That's the thing. Is like all these decisions that the dev made for Cube World. I mean, you know, he came out with the beta, and then many, many, many years later, he came out with the full game. Everyone loved the beta. Full game came out. Actually, everybody hated it. And
Bradley checked. He did a census.
This might be going into what
all these UX decisions he made that Tyler talked about. the dev talked about them, and he had an actual thought process behind why he did a lot of this stuff. But just because he spent years implementing these decisions too, but nobody liked them. And I imagine for him, having worked so hard on it, it might be easy for him to feel like, no, you guys are wrong. These are actually good decisions. But the reality is, everybody liked the beta better.
Yeah. And that's the certain thing about design and art and games is a lot of the times, because I've experienced with some UX design, and on the most recent project we worked on, I worked with somebody who was a design instructor. And this is a person who has no context to video games. They are straight up, I know what people need to have access to in certain parts of information.
Mm-hmm.
And this gets into the argument of what is fun. You take these two arguments of somebody who has this absolute process of everything tangible and all this information needs to be clearly demonstrated for the player, and then you have this concept of fun and what is something that is intangible. You can't really define this process, even though that is what we as designers attempt to do on every project, is what ideas are going to be the most fun for our target audience. And you take these two people and you try to merge this, how much information do we need to give the player at each moment in time sort of thing together. And the easiest example is like the map. He made the map available for everybody at the very start, and this was a procedurally generated world at the beginning, and he took away cartography away from the players and the sense of exploration that comes with it by providing them information that is technically correct. It's like, oh, if I give the players a blank world, I should give them a map because that makes sense, and it does. But then you lose that intangible thing of exploration. You can't touch that emotion. You can't define what people get a sense of joy out of, which may be exploration.
I have an example to bring up that takes us back all the way to Roundabout Cast episode 1.
Hey!
Sekiro and the Soulsborne games.
I was about to say, I didn't even remember what we talked about in the first one besides
Willer
Steel Ball.
remembers.
Props to Willer for remembering that.
So the thing with the Soulsborne games is that
I know where you're going with this, and this is a good thing to bring up.
Yeah, they're meant to be hard because that's the experience, and the story in a lot of them has themes of the struggles of trying over and over again and accomplishing it, and the creators want you to feel that accomplishment, and they want you to feel the weight of each death, and eventually you win, and that's part of the experience. But people are like, these games are too hard, so either they cheese them in some way, they try to look for the cheese, or they ask for difficulty settings so that they can play, and the designers never give it to them. Like, the games are very hard to cheese a lot of times. There's always cheesable parts of everyone, but they're designed so eventually you have to buckle up and you will have to figure shit out. Or they never will have a difficulty setting, and they don't even have like the Resident Evil scaling difficulty. Like you have this experience, you can grind if you want, but you're gonna have to grind a lot to really invalidate these bosses. So really, you're gonna have to do some learning as well, and some people complain about that.
That's a good of example where the developers don't care. Like, they're like, no, this is gonna be hard, and it's either you play it or you don't, and we don't care.
Like, that's such a good example too, because in Dark Souls, and also in Bloodborne, but I just know more about Dark Souls. Being hard, it's not just the intended experience. The fact that you are struggling to complete the game is tied into the lore, because when you reload, it's not just a reload, it's your character coming back, and the implication is every time you come back, your character goes a little bit more crazy. And the idea is that when you give up on the game in real life because it was too hard, it's as if your character finally went crazy and he's hollowed out.
And this is where we get to the art aspect, where Tyler, when he originally asked this question, he was asking from a pretty artistic point of view. And I feel like our first examples were very mechanically game balancy, but now we're talking about art, because we're talking about the medium of video games being used to tell this story to both the player and the characters. So I feel like, and then there's also the other level of the people who do find the cheese. They get like 100 arrows and kill the boss from afar. In Dark Souls 2, you can like snipe the second boss in the game ahead of time, or they will, God forbid, fight with a partner, which I don't do, but I also don't belittle people for doing it. But I know some people are like, "Oh, that's not legit," or "Oh,
I had to do it. I admit, I had to.
do
I
it
had to. I wasn't good enough.
So it's like, is that the death of the author for the video game then, where the players are like, don't, where the players complain about people using the mechanics in the game? They're not glitching, but they're not doing it the hardcore way. But then there's the other one where the players wish that it was easier because even with a partner they can't do it, but the author does not allow you to. He still wants you to experience the game. So that's rejecting death of the author. Yeah,
I think that's okay because the designers obviously there was good amount of conscious thought and effort put into that system.
Yeah.
But whenever we think about these kinds of games, I like trend a little more towards Tyler's side. Like, okay, you know, maybe there is a way the game is meant to be played, and it's kind of a disservice to not.
Yeah, like selling your turnips on the week and making sure you don't go below 100.
Yeah, it's like you don't have to do it, but it's like, why make it hard on yourself?
Bradley was giving me the business for not optimally selling my turnips. I still sold them.
The example I really wanted to get into, and I promise I won't go long on it. It's just I'm very passionate about the design of this game.
You won't do it.
Is Pathologic 2, the devs put out an update where they begrudgingly finally added difficulty sliders to the game. And this, like, okay, cool, people can play the game how they want, but it makes me so sad because it is so important that Pathologic 2 is exactly the difficulty it is for so many reasons. There's a lot of stuff you would do. Like, if you want to go into that game playing as a good person, it's going to be very hard. And it's only because of the difficulty that you would break your morals, like attack this person.
And that's the point, right?
Yeah, or it's like maybe like it's gonna be very hard to get medicine, and you're gonna have to make very difficult choices about which beloved character you want to save. But if you turn the difficulty of the game down and you can just get all the medicine you want, you don't have to make those hard choices, and it's a lot less compelling. And another really big mechanic of the game is that whenever you die, you get a penalty and the game permanently becomes harder. You can't just reload your save. And a lot of the most meaningful conversations in the game come after you die, because there's always like a little interlude between dying and coming back to life. And you get really meaningful conversations about, you know, persistence and, you know, thinking about the kinds of things you want to prioritize in life. And even for the ending of the game, because you're going to die repeatedly, you're going to die over and over and over. And around the 11th or 12th time, once you've finally kind of gotten like really fucking frustrated with dying over and over, someone is going to appear and they're going to be like, hey, I can make the penalty system go away. I can make it so that whenever you die, you don't get any more penalties, but I'm going to ask for something pretty big in exchange for that. And so you can take that deal, but it heavily affects the ending later on in the game. And I think it was such a cool... It was such a cool element to be on the table. And if you just made the game easy and never died, you would never even know it's there.
You know what this reminds me of? And this is a good segue into... We'll just go forever. Undertale. People don't like how you can't fully clear your Undertale file. I mean, you can, but like you have to really go out of your way to do it. But that's the point, is that the game remembers, because I mean that's part of the lore, that's part of the game. So people are like, "Oh man, I really wish I could fully erase my mistakes. I didn't know I wasn't supposed to kill anyone." I mean, everyone knows now.
The entire idea is that you made that choice and you can't make the choice go away.
I think it's a part of the experience and the intended because there's some designers who will give you an open-ended experience, and there's some that want to give you a curated experience. Undertale is a very curated experience where Toby Fox created such an intricate amount of options. He thought of almost everything that a player could potentially do in that game, and he gives you feedback for it. A very open-ended experience. This is an easy example, is Minecraft.
Yeah.
Where they give you the tools to do what you want to do. But let's say Destiny. Let's go back to that example, where
that's MMOs in general. But go ahead.
Yeah, they have to balance a lot, because if you provide 1% of anything PvP related, they have to balance and account for that, because then it can give players a competitive edge over the other players, and it creates an unfair environment, and people don't like that. But let's say if there was no PvP in Destiny, if you could take the bug of getting to shove the raid boss off the edge, and you skip like every part of the entire combat encounter. Some people did that. People did that all the time. I cheesed a shit ton of bosses because I was grinding out raids by myself, the Crota raid specifically, and I would just cheese the shit out of it because I didn't want to have to get a full raid group together. Did I ever experience a full raid group in Crota? Yes, I did, because I wanted to make sure I had that experience. The experience varies person to person. Here's another example. Whenever Switch was coming out back 3 years ago, there was this guy, and he was like, "Oh yeah, I want to get a Switch and I want to play through Breath of the Wild as quick as I can." I was like,
this is a good example already.
And he goes, and I goes like, "What are you gonna do?" And he's like, "Oh, I'm just gonna watch a Let's Play and just beat it." And I go, "What?" Like, yeah, I'm like, I honestly could not fathom why he wanted to have that experience.
Do I know this man?
Like, the whole appeal of the game for me was exploring it and shit. Because I like the game, but replaying it just isn't very magical. So
yeah,
like, why would you not want to go in blind?
I don't know, and maybe this, like, I can tie this back into Beastars. Is Beastars a show for me? No. Would I recommend it to people who enjoy animated furry content? I absolutely would, and I think they would enjoy that experience.
How do we get back?
My big issue about the whole Destiny MMO thing is, like, you're fundamentally telling a player they're doing something wrong and just, like, getting rid of all their time for doing it. That's, like, my big thing, is that it's like you are penalizing the player for doing the thing that gets them the win.
But you know what? Let's talk about why this really brought up time skipping in Animal Crossing.
Don't do it. I mean, do it. Whatever. I don't care.
No, like, here's my thing: is you go outside of the game to access this bug. You change your system. You disconnect it from what is almost like an online only game. It's not fully online only, but it's near online only game. And you break the system, I think. And the game has a tie-in with real life where it takes into account your real time, and it accounts for night and day. It accounts for seasons, what hemisphere you're in. So it almost has this, like, real, like, aesthetic to it. And I think time skipping gets you that experience. Some people don't want to wait around a lot. Some people don't have that time to wait around. Some people have fucking kids. Some people have full-time jobs. I get that.
But the waiting around is just giving you content sooner so you can play longer. I'm going to get all the stuff they're getting by playing less time than they are.
Yeah. And I get to play other games.
Because it's real time. The hours you're putting in skipping is just so you can get to that content faster so you can finish the game instead of stretching it out.
I think it's a wrong way to experience the game. That's it. I don't think it's wrong that people are doing it. Like, people find their own fun with whatever they want to do. I get that. But I think it's an inaccurate way to experience the game.
Here's my take. Man, you guys gave me some distressing news in the Discord. I'm very sad.
Wait, what?
Yeah, that was unfortunate.
I'm so bummed. God damn it. I already bought it. I have to do it. So I am a person who very much believes in the artistry of video games. And I get that a lot of people don't see it that way. They just want to shoot, bang, bang, fight. which is fine. So I'm the kind of person who's like, you can play the game any way you want, but I think there are ways to play the game where you're taking away half the artistry and the fun from the experience, just in multiple ways. Like, say, playing a difficulty that's too easy makes it so you're not going to explore the gameplay mechanics. Say, any Kingdom Hearts game, you should be playing on the hardest or second to hardest possible setting, if you want to actually get a feel for the combat. That's an example. But if you don't want to, you just want to go through, then that's cool. But then you have games like, I don't know, like, you can play something like Mother 3, which is a game I haven't talked about on this podcast yet because it's very important to me. And you can play it, and you can just kind of play it like an RPG and not pay attention to the dialogue and not really explore the world or talk to the NPCs and miss out on a lot of the themes and the charm because you just don't care. You don't really care about stories in games. You don't care about how game mechanics correlate to stories. You just want a good challenge. You just want a good RPG experience or whatever. So you miss out on what makes that game amazing. And maybe you still enjoy it, but I think if you played it with a critical eye, an artistic eye, you would enjoy it even more. But that's my take. It's fine if that's not what you enjoy.
Some people just like to play games and shut their brain off and not think about it.
Yeah, definitely.
And I understand, like, that aspect when it comes to any form of it, like entertainment medium. Like, I don't watch reality TV shows at all. I don't understand why people enjoy it, but some people are like, yo, I get to shut my brain off. I get to just dummy think and just enjoy these stupid people. And they know it's dumb. And I'm like, you know what? I get that now. Like, the same way I play League. Is League the best game ever? Not anywhere close. Do I have fun with it? Yes. Why do I have fun with it? It is one of the few games I can play as a game designer now that I can shut my brain off and just fucking play it. Which is hard to come by. I'm enjoying Warzone right now. Do I shut my brain off when I play it? No, not at all. My brain's going non-stop.
That shit's stressful.
Really? I shut my brain off. My brain goes dummy thick when I play.
Can confirm.
Smooth brain Joe over here. My brain gets wrinkly AF. Okay. Yeah, I think that was a great talk to close this off. I'm gonna separate this into its own video because I didn't break the recording.
Yeah, that was fun. And I don't know. I just want to hear people's answer to is there a way games are meant to be played?
Yeah, and
I want to see what our listeners think. Yeah, all two of them who listened.
Yeah.
No, I believe these weird videos that aren't about anything, actually, people listen to them, if I say.
Oh.
So all 7 of you who listened, shout outs to you. I know you guys name by name. There's not many of you, so I know all your names.
You sent me a question earlier today. I just remembered I need to respond to it because
yes. You guys have podcast duties that you do not fulfill. Okay. Goodbye, everyone. Have a great week. Be safe out there.
Pirate Wars in 1 hour. We did it.
Oh my God, for real? Oh. Bye bye.